Hello everybody once again to the Trackmania World Tour MEA Regional Day number 2. Hopefully you've been having a great weekend so far, and I will be your host Greedy, and alongside me a familiar face once again, it is SRK. How are you doing?
Well, hello. We're back with the API broadcast team, I see.
Yeah, it is. For those who don't know, yes, you can see that Altruism is not here today. Unfortunately, last minute he had some ISP issues, so he wasn't able to make it, and it wasn't like a temporary issue. It was a general outage, so he's not here. But we always have somebody to come in place, and of course, SRK is always more than willing to jump in and commentates on the region. So happy to have him here, and we'll see how things will go. It's still an interesting day to come. What results we'll get, we'll see.
Yeah, it's actually pretty nice because we're gonna have like every match is gonna be played out separately. So we'll see all matches that are planned left are basically gonna be properly demonstrated. So we're gonna have the top four of the regional now, and these are basically the last day of MEA in regionals. This is the final regional, final day, final matches for some of the teams as well. So hopefully we'll see all of them using this special situation to their best efforts, and we'll see who'll come out on top. Usually, as it goes at MEA, usually it's kind of you kind of know how it will go. But well, we'll have to see. We'll have a bit of a gauntlet played out, so it's going to be Split Academy versus CI. Then the winner of that will be played against Molotov, and the winner of that then will play in the final.
Yeah, and to give you a visual representation of it as well, you can see it on your screen as well. Our first match of the day, as said, Split Academy and CI, followed by the Molotov Gaming facing the winner of that match, and then Foot Esports waiting in the grand final. I mean, overall, when we look at the matches today, you look at Split Academy and CI on paper. Split Academy are the ones to be looking to take this match. It's the match between Molotov Gaming and Split is where I think the most interesting part is, because Split have been looking good. Molotov is always good, but can they actually do something to maybe make a tosser? Because if Split Academy win against Molotov, they go into a very good position in the global points ranking as well.
Yeah, because that win. If Split Academy win against CI and then put themselves in the final, first of all, they break the 1-2 streak. That's one thing. But second thing is that they basically guarantee them over Southern Speedsters, who are currently still 1 point ahead of them. So if Split Academy do get a final today, that 100% guarantees them in the World Championship unless Southern Speeders do something crazy in matchmaking. Because outside of the regional, teams still can earn points from matchmaking, will be kind of the final decider of how things will go. So for basically teams like Foot and Molotov, they're basically set in stone. Foot is basically 100% as MEA C number 1. Molotov is looking like C number 2, but the 2, 3, 5 is still up in the air. So one of the three teams between Southern Speedsters, Split Academy, and Chamorro Chinde is going to be eliminated. We're not going to see them in the wild card.
That is indeed true. If you do know the exact date out of the top of the head, when is the exact deadline for the matchmaking ranking to be officially closed? And that's when they take them. If you know out the top of your head.
So matchmaking will close out at the start, basically when the new season starts in campaign. So when the whole rotation in the matchmaking set changes, that will be when all of the positions will be points locked in. So the way how matchmaking is rewarded is that both play teammates or team, let's say in this example, Split Academy, they will take, let's say, Tomer's MMR and Benoxi's MMR divided by 2, compare them against every other, let's just say, team overall, and they'll be reserved points based off that. So there's a total for the very first place, it's 20 points, which is actually quite a lot. It's almost the same as winning 3 regionals at the same time. But there are still like the small, let's just say, some smaller points that can still paint a bigger difference, which is currently the biggest thing to look out for is, well, Chamorro and Chinde is kind of in this bit more comfortable position between the 3 to 5 teams, but Split Academy need to either get up 2 today, or they need to be a whole placement here above Southern Speedsters for them to make it to the wild card.
No, that is indeed the case, and we'll have to see how things go. But before that continues, we are going into the big and bans, and we will see how things will go. Of course, you can see on your screens they have started with the speed and a control ban, and we will have to wait and see how things will go. Start off with Crip, which is expected. from Split Academy, and followed by Breaking. We'll see how things will go. Again, of course, these will be your usual best of sevens, and with Frosty on the menu as well, we see some good map picks as well. Hopefully, we can get some interesting ones as well. No, we haven't actually seen any Vortex of any kind, so we do see Airwalk as well. So hopefully, some good map picks here to come. Let's take a look here. Oh, that is at least the map. Grip, Breaking, Off-Road, Frosty, and it is Airwalk, Pool, and Sinuous, and that is our map pool for now. And
Bit of a
hopefully we can get some interesting maps. At least Frosty is in the mix, but no Vortex so far. It's still at least from MEA side,
I haven't seen Speed
and
being
Speed as well,
played
to
that
be honest.
much in MEA actually. Um, but the rest of the maps at least have made a bit of appearance here and there. But we'll have to see how this will go. I mean, of course, Split Academy in theory is, let's say, in terms of power ranking, are rated a bit higher than CI. However, in Rotor standings, Shamron and Shinde is currently is in that top four. But we'll have to see how this will go. This is definitely a fight for the World Championship. If Split Academy wants to have a more consistent stay and can actually be in that event, then they really have to do some damage in this match.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it goes. CIR definitely have their work cut out for them. They are going, as I said, Split Academy have been quite consistent, and it's something that they have been holding on to for most of their matches. Maybe not the fastest, of course, but when they do put you on the pedestal, then that consistency can be a quite lethal weapon, especially when one mistake can really make the difference in the round. But we'll have to see how things go. It is important to get off to a good start because, again, Molotov Gaming is awaiting, so you really want to have a good warm-up. So this is how we start off with the match. Split Academy versus CI. Huba Bibi and Ragnarinho for CI, and Benoxi and Thomas for Split Academy. As we start off on Grip, probably one of the favorite maps for Split Academy, and we already see that a good start for them up front, going very nicely, very clean so far, no major mistakes, and everybody gets the transition here as well. So, but it is already a good lead. BB is in the mix, not too far, but trying, as Ragnarinho does touch the outside dirt, but it does allow for. Oh, but we see Hubabibi gets a slowdown as well. So Split Academy is now quite comfortably in the lead, which is an ace position for them. And if anything is to go by, this should be a certified ace for them. Nothing really complicated there. That's how they should be doing it, and that's how they will end it. That's a 3-0 start for them, and that's a perfect way to start off.
Yeah, they were actually saving quite a bit. So at least Benoxi did this very weird release at the very last jump, but no point of risking it. However, in that place, it's a bit different because in Grip, there is the top finish, which you kind of, if you can do the identity properly, you could hit with easy, no issues basically. But if your exit speed is a bit sluggish, then you're in this weird gray zone area. You might not make the bottom fin or not make the top fin. So I felt like that he just tried to make it a bit safe. Looks like Ragnar is a bit out of the round. Only Kuba Bibi trying to have some say. Actually, both Split Academy players have one thing to mention, that in their preparation process, as have been there are these part type maps that exist for World Tour, and they actually are quite highly rated, both of them, in almost every single map in these part maps. So they have really used the part maps as one of their practice tools, and that definitely gonna build that confidence, especially for mid and end parts of the maps, and make you more comfortable when those things come out. Because I know a lot of people are just trying to play full versions. They just restart at the start, and they get really nervous when they reach out the middle or the end parts of the map. And Split Academy has a bit different approach to the map for, let's say, for practice, and you can probably see that here as well, because the consistency It has definitely still helped out on consistency, at least.
Yeah, but then again, it does put a lot of pressure on the other teams as well. You know that Split Academy, on average, are not really gonna make a mistake. So if you make one, then most likely you are gonna be the one ending up in 4th position, unless you can outpace them like Foot Esports did when they were playing one another, because it had a lot of draws because Split Academy weren't simply able to take that 1st position away because one of the members was just too fast. But in this case against CI, they can put that consistency into a very good use. And again, 2 aces in a row, and they're looking to make it a nice clean sweep here as Ragnarino does clip the inside of that first exit on the identity, and Thomas and Benoxy. Thomas having a bit of a wobble in the end, but able to control it and come in and get another ace going. And that is now 9-0 and only 1 point away of taking their first track point.
I can give you a small fun fact. Out of the 8 teams that we have left, 8 players that we have left today, 7 out of the 8 players in the top 4 of MEA are top 100 in matchmaking. So there's a small fact right there.
Well, but that means that there is points to be gained in the matchmaking. It shows that they are active in matchmaking, and that could still come down to some very interesting points in the end. Like we already talked about, there's only literally 1 point between them. So, and matchmaking can reward some good points. So we'll never know. And I do believe if there was also yesterday, I believe, like if there comes down to the point that they're in a draw position in points, then the result of these matches is very important as well.
Yeah, because we kind of bit laughed at this kind of, maybe who will be the one's favorites, as Split Academy is definitely showcasing that, but matchmaking is going to be a very, I just say, one of the bigger deciders outside of just the bracket seeding. But overall, and actually, Chamrun Inshinda does take the victory, but at one point does give the Split Academy the first map pick win, but we'll have to go to CI's pick, which is going to be Breaking. So we have Grip and Breaking as the first 2 picks. Breaking has been the maps where you have seen the biggest gaps. Also, the first checkpoint is the most punishing one, because let's just say a bit unfortunate start of the round, and you basically can't finish, as we have seen in some of the rounds. But so I really want to get the start properly, and there's a lot of places. This is definitely one of the more punishing maps, because sometimes if you just try to play safe a certain section in Breaking, or you have a small mistake, it can not only give like a 0.7 mistake or time loss compared to, let's say, other maps, but here it's like 3 seconds, 4 seconds, and it starts to snowball as well. So this is definitely a map where just playing safe as yeah, Kubabibi doing a bit of a flipster there, bit of a air spinning, and kind of puts him out of the round. And this is the big gap thing that I said. There's one small mistake like that on this map, and you are +10 behind the rest of everyone.
Yeah, it's that's how this map goes. Last time, of course, we saw Split Academy didn't actually have a good time here against Sudden Speedsters here, and we see that this map definitely is not as favored as Benoxy. Literally falls off the map near the ice. There is a hole, so, and he's really struggling to get around that corner. So Ragnarino does take 2nd position here, and Thomas is very far away, stuck on the gate, goes for a respawn, but that again allows now Ragnarino to come into 1st position. So it is a bit of a, a bit of a similar sight from the previous time Split Academy were here, but it seems that Ragnarino is not gonna make. I speak too soon. He falls off the edge and allows Thomas to come in, and it seems that everybody's having a bit of struggle. Ubabibi has come from that major mistake to come into 2nd position, but with everything said and done, it allows now Benoxy to be 3rd, and it is a victory for Split Academy. So Ubabibi had a horrifying start, but it still doesn't matter because he still brings in the point. But this is definitely not Split Academy's favorite map, and everybody's having a bit of a struggle here, that's for sure.
Yeah, top 100 MM, by the way.
It's the map. It's the map. It's nothing else.
I mean, this is the same thing that I said, right? It's just one small mistake, and it's massive gaps all out of it. And maybe it was like one of those gambling picks from Chamrun in China. It's like, okay, we're maybe not that good here, but maybe the other team is also not as good, and they can maybe, take the upset in that kind of way. And hopefully it's a bit more positive situation looking for CI. Very wide line there from Ragnar. But a bit better sideways exit speed coming out of that part. Still maintain the victories for now, but Stormers is trying to catch up at least the knight to a draw. Unless, yeah, Ragnar has a small bonk on the side. Allows Stormers to secure third place very easily. But Huabibi having a very safe identity, no major risks there. Both Benoxy and Tomers do secure the second and third, and it will be a draw in the second round.
Yeah, this is a bit getting people. They are getting into it slowly. Of course, we've had some other two, but overall the round was clean. No major mistakes. It was just you take a bit of a safer line, lose half a second. You find yourself already almost 2 seconds behind by just trying to survive this map. So nothing major happened apart from Ragnarino having a bit of a trouble in the end. So they are at least getting into this, but it is a struggle and a half. It's not an easy map, and there's a lot of fragile, a lot of reactor on this map as well, and a lot of things that can catch you off guard. So if you have a bit of a lapse in judgment in just a moment, you can either just crash into a wall, slide out on the ice. You have plenty of reasons to always keep your attention span going, because otherwise, even this ice, Ragnarina does go for a wider line, as you said, but the exit here will be a lot better for him. It just feels like a much safer approach, as Benoxy gets slightly wedged on the ice, but is able to catch it. Hopefully he's able to catch up to the other people in front of him, not too far. And we've seen a few mistakes on the identity, so we'll have to see how things will go. No incidences on the water, so it will come down to this turn as everybody's coming clean, but Tomers has clipped the edge and has to... Oh, but Ragnar hits the pole and has to respawn as well, so it is another draw. We go back to the draws.
Yeah, Tomers really tried to basically do the counter steers because it slows you down faster than just braking on a straight line. And he oversteered way too much to a point where his back wheel clipped and he fell off the first tight board. And that's a good thing for CI a bit, but a draw is a draw. That could have been a very good opportunity for CI to get an ace there, but unfortunate mistake from Ragnar. Kind of puts him still then on the backfield at the Spic. We kind of were memeing about that. Spic, this should be a 4-0 once again. But I believe so that if the match continues like this, it can go any way.
I mean, as long as if Split Academy are playing on breaking, there is a chance that they will lose this track. They lost it to Southern Speedsters, so CI, in my opinion, have a lot better chance of taking this. But if anything, I would assume that Split Academy or Tomers and Benoxy had a bit of time on this map yesterday, because I'm sure they weren't really happy with how things went. And you can see already that, at least in my opinion, when we compare to yesterday and today, it looks a lot more confident. Yes, there have been more mistakes, but we see that now Split Academy are taking the ace and putting themselves in a very comfortable position in a 7-3. And that is exactly why I do believe that if I was them, I would definitely take at least an hour or two to just make sure breaking isn't as bad as it was yesterday.
Actually, overall, if you look at how the CI play stuff, they actually take very unstructured turns in the middle and the end parts of the map. While not CI, but Split Academy, they have a very structured middle and the ends of the map, which is I said that they kind of, hunt these practice segment maps a bit more than even most teams globally. And you can very see that they kind of know what they will be doing in the middle and the end part. Like they have like these visual cues, this kind of backbone that kind of relies them on the line setups, whereas CI just kind of try to wing things. But I have noticed, which kind of is the main issue of mistakes coming out from CI. So sometimes it works out, sometimes not. Sometimes they just throw it a wall, see what sticks. And so far, it's a very equal field. Well, it was an equal field. Well, it is still an equal field.
Yeah, it's still a draw.
Both Ragnar and Benoxy both clipped the side of the pool, and well, it still looks like it's a draw. Top two managed to make it through. Ragnar also maintains the third, and it's going to be another draw, but Split Academy is a victory away from taking CI's map pick.
Yeah, that is exactly. I feel like if anything, CI's best opportunity was on breaking to take it, but I'm pretty sure they saw it yesterday and were able to go for it again, but it seems that Penoxy does have a bit of an unfortunate touch, so he will be very slow to the reset. But I feel like this would have been the best opportunity for CI to take the track point, but it seems that Split Academy are definitely not letting any opportunity here. Thomas is up front, so he's looking to avoid an ace for CI, otherwise that 4-point gap is absolutely nullified to a 1-pointer. So he really has to push this, otherwise he's just gonna give away points. Ragnar again with his wider line, but it allows... but that's a bit too much overcompensating on the ice and has to stand still respawn there. So now Benoxy's in the mix again, so now all eyes on Hubabibi because... oh no, that's a yep sign. Benoxy is now on his tail, and with these positions, Split Academy would actually take this track point and would put themselves 2-0 up. Unless, but Hubabibi has an unfortunate touch in the end as well. So with that concluded, Split Academy are the ones to take the ace and take it rather comfortably. Maybe not as fast as you would expect it to be, but 11-4 will be the score, and that's more than enough to take them 2-0 up.
Yeah, Hubabibi taking a bit of more adventurous route at the end. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, he went for the flip in the end, trying to go for a bit of some wicked style there, but that's not gonna lend you to be in first position, unfortunately.
I mean, honestly, despite it was 11-4, they showed us proper that they could keep up with Split, but inconsistencies at the end, they just completely threw them off, and the ice slide as well. And while Split Academy did have their mistakes that at least were a bit more structured and they came from risking more, while CI just had a lot of, let's just say, inconsistency issues. Like every single round, they had like a bit different line even. That kind of caused, let's just say like that, not the most fortunate of results in most rounds. All we have to see, map 3, is a pick by Split Academy. It is off-road. It actually is a bit of a double-edged sword. For some people, it's one of the more consistent, straightforward maps. For some people, it's, let's just say, another control or another braking. So let's see how this one goes.
Yeah, it is. The map itself, like when you look at it, there's not many aspects that are really difficult. It's just that there's so many places where you can clip. There's so many places where there's transitions, speed checks, your line has to be correct. But if you just get it slightly wrong, you can hit a pole, you can slide out on the ice, you can have plenty of issues that can come around every corner here. So, and Hubabibi and Thomas in synchronized slide out go into the ice section. So it is Benoxy in first and Ragnarinho in second. And currently, at least, it seems that Benoxy, with a very short identity, should be able to take first position, and it does. Hubabibi and Thomas, well, Thomas is very slow. He's definitely not going to make that jump. And Hubabibi is going to come in third, and Thomas is going to come in fourth. Well, he doesn't have the time to finish. So it will be a draw in the end to start us off. And yeah, that ice definitely proving to be a difficult job. At least for me, it always felt like it should be pretty easy. From my end, when I tried the map, at least every time I released and went for the ice, I never had an issue. But of course, you need to push, and sometimes you either forget or you are not aware how fast you're going, which is pretty understandable, to be honest.
Yeah, but one thing to mention is that Thomas actually has one of the fastest times of the region on this map. If I recall correctly. Okay, he had a while back one of the better times, so I guess my notes were a bit off. But anyway, at least on the practice section, the very both Thomas and Benoxy don't have a both have a 1 and 2 on some of the sports sections on off-road. But so far the consistency has been a bit all over the place. A lot of tree bumps, a lot of everything like that. We haven't seen a properly clean round by more than 2 players so far. So it's really more not so much about the pace, but on who can just survive throughout the map, basically.
Yeah, but it is another draw on the board, and yeah, indeed, it is at the moment off-road. I mean, everybody's taking a bit of an off-road scenic route on this map because every tree and every pole is currently being inspected for being absolutely there or not. Because yeah, it's been a bit of a rough one. At least Huabibi had a good round, but it bodes well for him. You know, sometimes you just need one good clean round to get yourself going, and it sort of helps you keep the momentum. as well. So hopefully Hubabibi can be up front, at least give CI more of a fighting chance. Ragnar Vigno still needs to get into this track. Again, an early mistake puts him far behind, so it's all on Hubabibi, as Tommers barely making it, has just enough speed, but he really has to make these jumps count. It's very awkward when you don't have speed in that segment. So, and Benoxy has a slide out, gives the spectators a bit of a eyesight, but he's all over the place. So Ragnar Vigno started off slow, but now he's third, which, if everything goes well, I mean, CI is looking to get a victory on the board, which is going to be very lovely for them. Again, Hubabibi is the only one to really get a clean round, but I mean, as CI, that's a victory, and that is the first time they will actually go into the lead as well. So, you know, you take it.
And not on their map pick on top of that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
This is a Split Academy's pick.
Yeah, that is what the point is here as well, because if you can do it on their own map pick, yes, it is the third. It's technically the second pick if we look at it that way. So technically the first map pick always is the one that you really want to win, because that is the map that you should be the most comfortable on. But later half, the progression of your own consistency might degrade a bit as map goes on. But CI definitely taking advantage of Split Academy not really being there today. They are not enjoying, at least off-road, to the extent that they did yesterday. But we'll have to see, because usually once they get a round going, they do get it going, and we see they are in a comfortable ace position as Hubabibi clips the checkpoint as well. So not, and a slide out for Ragnar Vigno. So not looking good for CI.
I mean, I don't know if you saw what happened to Split, but both of them got airtime on the ice slide part. And both of them barely held on. But I mean, they're still on an ace. It looks like they will just speed up the map and actually gain their advantage back on their map pick. Both get an ace, but yeah, both Turks are, let's say, not having the best performance so far.
And they're giving it a fight, but yeah, they haven't been really able to use the slow start to Split Academy, that they could have taken some very good points, and I think if anything that scoreline could be easily reversed for CI's favor, but they had a slower start as well, and that now with Split Academy being back in the game much more easily, it's gonna be a much harder task now to take away points, because if they get another ace going, that's just gonna expand the lead. But Tommers not having a good time here, hits the wall, goes a bit too hot into the turn, so it's Penoxy. Oh, but Hubabibi's approach there clips him, and I believe he's trying to get back on track in a very unorthodox method. He gets actually there, but not the usual way you would get back on track. And Ragnar Vigno also has to respawn, and with everything aside,
did you saw the way why he had the respawn?
Yeah, I missed it. I was looking at Hubabibi at the time because he was having a bit of an unorthodox way of getting back into the track.
So what happened was he went on the booster, he clipped the booster, he was about to enter the finish, and he clipped the side and went off the track just in front of the checkpoint. I have never seen. Oh yeah.
I mean, if you want to see some exclusive ways to play these maps, regionals are always a fun way to look at it. You find some of the most interesting ways people approach these maps. Of course, yes, it can happen to anybody. I mean, it's just you try to push, and once you go in a very awkward line, I mean, you just gotta try something, you know. You really don't have much, but sometimes you just see it too late, and you're like, yep, I'm screwed. There's nothing I can do, and you just respawn or have to take a very awkward way of getting back into where you were. But at the moment it is looking Split Academy's favor. They only need 2 points to take another track point, and Hubabibi is the only one who can really contest up front. Ragnar Vigno is not far behind, so if somebody gets an ice slide out here, which they don't, it's looking to be Hubabibi who's gonna deny, as Tommers has a very weird slowdown. Either probably clipped the edge of the plastic there, because it's now up to Penoxy to deny Hubabibi, so he really has to send it. But in this short identity, there's really not much you can do, and it is a draw. They are very close, but with Ragnar Vigno coming in as well, I don't know what happened to Tommers there. Probably a Yep 3 moment there, if I had to suspect.
As well.
Yeah, so, but it is a 9-7, so it requires CI to ace the next round.
Victory.
I mean, CI can get it, but Split Academy literally just have to even if they played the previous rounds as they played before, they should still take the map win. We haven't seen an ace from CI side, so they kind of have to do a first if they wanna get in the next round.
Yeah, but that's gonna be a difficult task. Like, I mean, Split Academy, at least one of the members has always been somewhat upfront, so it's pretty much all on Ragnarinho. He really needs to get into this, but he is really struggling on the map and not being able to keep up, and sometimes that deficit is just gonna be enough for Split Academy to take this track. He's really doing safe lines at the moment, but if Split Academy can get through this section, I feel like that is pretty much curtains for CI. Hubabibi can try all he wants, of course. First place is a nice token, but he needs his teammate to be second, and with a wide line like that, and that's a hop and a skip for Hubabibi, it is an ace for Split Academy, and they get a 12-7 and to take a track point here. So yeah, Hubabibi trying a bit too much, goes too wide, and goes for the flip from the block there, as Ragnarinho shows that you can take this identity backwards as well. Pretty nice, actually. You can actually make an identity out of that.
Yeah, it skips the penalty grass.
Yeah, it avoids the penalty grass. It's not gonna... I don't know, if there was maybe a way to turn around fast enough there, maybe it would work, but the reactor... and the identity is too short to make it really work, to be honest.
Might actually forward that to the mapping team then, I guess.
I mean, yeah, just to keep in mind, there's always reactor shenanigans, you know. People are gonna always... if there's a reactor, I'm sure people always look for some reactor shenanigans. Like, it's always there, you know. It's, you know...
a bit of a no steer is missing for that backwards.
Oh, yeah, that's always a good one. Just chuck in every reactor.
And gaps.
Oh... But we are on Frosty, which is a map that sees a lot of love, I feel like. More than Sinuous, which I find quite surprising to some extent. But again, Sinuous is built by Scarzor, to be honest. Scarzor hasn't had much luck in getting his maps played in the World Tour. Maybe next season, third time's the charm. But either way, Frosty overall is still a unique map. I do enjoy the 360s. You don't see them quite often, and it's quite satisfying when you do pull them off. So but they can really produce some awkward moments, especially with checkpoints and it being reactor ice as well, which can be somewhat throwing you off. But for now, at least, it seems that Thomas is just waving everybody goodbye, and CI are sort of trying to catch up to him, to be honest.
One thing I was noticing is that Hubabibi like never releases. Like if he goes into a drift, he never uses release. Well, as soon as I was saying something, I just saw Ragnar just driving off the road next to the no grip block, and he just drove off the road for some reason. Probably he had way too wide of a line. Anyway, what I was saying was that I have noticed that Hubabibi and Ragnar both never release when they take drift turns, so they just press the brake just enough and just kind of hope that it will work out, which is actually one of the more efficient ways to get drifts going. But it's very efficient if you have the line properly set up, and I feel like that's one of the main ways how they do have these mistakes going, and it does give that major advantage to Split Academy.
I mean, yeah, if you are confident in the drift, then yeah, you can take it full speed. But yeah, you as you said, if you don't know the lines, then going full speed into it can cause you either to clip, hit a wall, or vice versa. You can even get if you're in a bad gear, you can even get a slowdown from the gears as well. So it does rely on consistently having the same line. But now at the moment on Frosty, everybody's getting through this, as Hubabibi does a bit of awkwardly gets the ice there and allows for Split Academy to come up in front. So overall, everybody's through it, but everybody's sort of half a second between each other. So it's not easy to catch up. But of course, the end identity of Frosty can be quite treacherous. Hubabibi is trying to catch up here, but he really needs a good identity or a bit of a spinning moment for Split Academy. But everybody has a bit of a moment here, as Ragnarinho is trying to... oh, barely. Almost getting it cleanly, but it's still an ace for Split Academy.
Yeah, like Benoxia as well, he bounced off the road, but still managed to get the V-grip during the spin. So it could have gone a bit off. And overall, this whole match feels like just who just crashes the less There are some decent times that some of the players can do on some of the maps, but I feel like most of the time they just full send this kind of vibe and they just pop out the mistakes. And I feel like since Split Academy is just trying to play a bit more safe here and there, that's kind of the things that kind of give them the advantage. But when it comes down, CI, if they risk it and they're successful, then there can be in something like rounds like this where they are ahead. But the main thing is if they can maintain that, because we haven't really seen where both CI players actually get both of them a solid round going. Either it's just one of them or none of them. And you kind of need both players to get the more advantageous results, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a player who constantly gets first position, then at least that somewhat can help you out, and the other teammate then can maybe has a slower start, but is able to then get back into the match. But if you really struggle, I know some people really enjoy the risk, as Hubabibi, he's able to hold on to the first position. I know some people just have that style, but the only way they can drive is just risking it. Because that's how they have learned the map and played the map most of the time. But yeah, if we take into consideration what Split Academy do and the way they practice and play, I feel like it's just a much better way of doing, you know. You have a consistent line. Yes, it might not be the fastest in the world, but if you can do it all the time, that's gonna net you a lead, and there's a reason why they are 6-2 up at the moment.
Yeah, Hubabibi is actually the fastest player out of these four on this specific map. And I feel like if he just maintains the consistency going, it can potentially sway them. This is CI's map pick, but I feel like it does a bit rely on Ragnar, because Ragnar hasn't really been playing that well compared to everyone else. He has been the player with the most consistency issues, with the slowest pace, and feels like Hubabibi is on a massive carry roll all the time. It gives a bit of a not so crazy, but the stage 1 Trolla vibes a bit. Of course, at least Split Academy is trying to play it safe. Hubabibi is actually trying to push for pace, showing that he is the fastest player on this map out of these four. Benoxy gets unfortunate bomb, gets a mess up. Ragnar actually maintains it through. Hubabibi gets a 104-2, and I believe that has been the fastest time we have seen outside of the Molotov and Foot players on this map, so there's definitely a bit on the higher end of times, but it will be actually a victory with that, as Ragnar does get the overtake from the mistake on one of the Split Academy players, but at the same time, Split Academy now one ways away to end off this match.
Yep, that is indeed true. Technically, if CI managed to do that now 3 rounds in a row, get a victory for them, they can take it to overtime. So that is the bare minimum to just get into overtime. So they really need an ace to sort of get much better options at the moment, because yeah, Split Academy, I feel like they really want to just close this out, and they are in a prime position to do so. As you said, they only need an ace to secure track and match point here. Thomas goes a bit wide, but Ragnar really sending it, but that's, oh, he really has to release just to not fall off the edge there, and now he's fallen way behind, and now it's Hubabibi to really push towards the front. He really has to just get one of these positions to prolong this match, and it's looking to be rather difficult. Of course, Benoxy and Tomers have had some moments on the identity, and Tomers has a moment with that pole, and Benoxy with those signs as well, and it allows Hubabibi to come through, and it is an ace for CI, exactly what they needed.
This is their first ace of the match as well. That's definitely, that can, you know, give them a bit more confidence. This is CI's pick. And the thing happened. Both Split Academy players had a mistake. It did allow Ragnar to play a bit better. And here we are. Tight scoreline. 1 ace away. If they repeat the same, let's just say, a round as it was last time around, they do put themselves on the next map. So the match is not over yet. This is not their last round on the regional, or last map on the whole regional. So all in the whole of World Tour. Well, probably they definitely want to play some couple of rounds a bit more as well.
Yeah, Tomers having a slide out on the first ice already puts all the pressure on Benoxy, and especially since Split Academy haven't had the best time on the identity, it has to be clean. There's no other choice, and he really needs to overtake Hubabibi here as well, because otherwise CI are gonna go up front, and then the margin of error becomes ever so smaller. It's small already, because if Benoxy makes a mistake on the ice, Ragnar is pretty close enough to take advantage of it, but Benoxy is really trying here, but it has to be clean. There is no other way. Oh, but that is way too ambitious. Is he able to... Oh my goodness sake. Ragnar almost got it, but just enough. Benoxy holds out, and it is a victory for CI, but it's now 1 point away. And Split Academy, if they want to take this match points, they need to ace or get overtime with a victory.
Yeah, there was a lot of bumps and bruises, but Split Academy still holds on this map. At the same time, CI literally, even a victory is enough for them, but even a draw is actually enough for them. But Split Academy either need a victory or an ace to end off this whole match and eliminate CI from their last regional. Currently, it's a bit favored position for CI. Benoxy, early mistake, does not definitely put Split Academy on the favorable position for them to finally end it off here. Both actually CI players on an ace right now have been a very, very sloppy part with the ice spinnens a bit. But Stommers, a bit better drift, catches up a bit to Ragnar. Ragnar with a very wide line, doesn't even get the exit speed properly. Stommers in a still advantages his position. Bibi is basically in a world of his own. Ragnar does hit the cruise control block, gets even overtaken by Benoxy, who Bibi messes up, and...
Oh no!
It's still a draw though. It's still a draw. CI do say, okay, we're not done just yet. We still want to play one more map.
Oh, but that
was a very chaotic end.
Yeah, that was a very chaotic end. Benoxy had the chance to take it, but he also made a mistake on the identity, and that would have been actually an opportunity to take the overtime there. But now we actually go into track number 5, which is Airwalk. I mean, that just shows like Split Academy have their struggles on certain maps. Breaking from yesterday was resolved a bit. It looked a lot better than yesterday, but now Frosty today looked way more shaky than it was yesterday. So it's a bit of up and down. They fix one track, but then they have really sacrificed another one, and Frosty goes in CI's favor. And I feel like that's that's definitely a map where you feel like that's just on us. I mean, of course CI took advantage, and Bibi was really good on that map. Actually quite consistent considering what he was how he was struggling on the other map. So very good for them. But can they do it again? Because they still need to reverse sweep the entire series to just get to match point basically and go against Molotov Gaming in the next round. And that is,
I've been actually looking into one small thing, and fun facts: in the Middle East and Africa region, 65% of matches during entire stage 1 and stage 2 were 4-0s. 65%. That's pretty decent static. So at least this match is not going to be one of them in that 65%. But as with that, CI got that map in. So there's a very interesting stat there. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a draw. This is Split Academy's pick. So this is a bit favor for them, a map. Bibi does get the win of the rounds, and it sets up a draw. So we're basically playing, as some said, we're playing now best of 18, basically.
Well, we'll see how that goes, but actually a good round. Everybody, the top 3 were separated by 61 thousandths of a second, so it was a close one, everything considered. It was simply Ragnar who was trailing behind, but everybody actually went for quite a substantially good round. Everything considered, it's still Benoxy and Tomer sort of chasing down Bibi, and it is sort of Bibi who really has to keep that first position in check in order for CI to have a chance here, because Ragnar can rely on some of the mistakes at least that may happen in the identity. But I feel like especially in considering Split Academy, they are the more consistent ones, so I would assume that they are much less likely to make a mistake in this identity. And we'll see if Bibi can actually do something about it. The setup is good for all the players, Tomers and Benoxy as well. Bibi is really sending it, but he's sending it far wide. Too much sending there, and he gives away the ace to Split Academy. He sort of knew that he had to go for it, but a bit overcooked there. Maybe want to adjust a bit for the next round.
Roberts was also so close on over jumping on the bumper. He was like couple pixels away, and he would just not be finishing that. So it was very, very close on his end. It is sometimes when you play the identity that due to the angled bumper, it's just like, okay, I'm getting it, but in the end it's not. So it's kind of, hard to judge sometimes just due to the perspective of the alignment there, which sometimes throws off some people because the way how you do it efficiently is that you want to reduce the how to say heights air time. So you want a direct air time always if you want to get the bounce properly or efficiently. That's the best way how you can save time on the identity. The identity itself is pretty easy to do and very straightforward. It's just when you whisk it, all of these trying to reduce and get as straight of a jump is what starts to cause the big mistakes. Everyone gets the first prompt properly, no major oversteers, some bit safer setups than from the others, and it's going to be another draw just on the first one. Split Academy is still in the lead, but everyone tries to play it a bit more on the safe end, except for BB, who actually had a decent identity, had a decent low jump going, and it was enough for the round winner to at least have a draw in this round and not an advantageous scoreline for Split Academy.
Yeah, they are still holding on to that ace that they took from the rounds before and holding on to that 3-point lead. But it is a case where Thomas, yeah, that was immediately seen. But then Ragnarinho does a very simple mistake and allows Thomas to get back into this. And it is Upabibi who has to deny Split Academy yet again. But it is that identity. It is all about the setup again. It is once you know when to release, when to accelerate. Most of the time, if you do the similar setup or every time, it should give you similar results as well. But it is indeed true that if you want to send it, that's where it becomes a bit of an issue. But let's see, Huabibi is in first position. He doesn't need to do any heroics here, but he's still going for that low jump. And this time he misses. He hits the finish block again, and it's another ace. He cooks it again too much. And he hits the finish, and this time he doesn't fall into it. And it is an ace for Split Academy, and that's 6 points now, and a match point. And I mean, at this point, it takes an effort to throw this one away from Split Academy.
I don't know if you saw, but Huabibi actually did a Spider-Man trick at the end of the round.
He was holding on to to that finish block dearly to just fall into it, but it just didn't happen.
No, he was like falling down the wall and his wheels touched, and he actually did the Spider-Man trick from the wall, so that's why he bounced off the wall there, basically.
Oh,
but yeah, anyways, Split Academy is actually one victory away of basically eliminating CI from the regionals and basically closing their season in the open circuit play. So they just really need to get the 1 and 2. Ragnar doesn't get the best of no slides. Thomas does get the overtake on Ragnar. Noxy trying to do something, but Hubabi actually has been playing quite decently on this match, so basically all the rounds they rely on either Hubabi can get the end or not. So it gets a very risky end, and Benoxy does get a better snipe, does get the not-so-cancer release, and that's gonna be it. And CI is gonna be eliminated from the tournament, and it's gonna be it for CI in all of the open circuit regional play. And Split Academy does move on to the top 3 of this regional. Will be facing off against Molotov Gaming.
Yep, that is CI's end of the journey for this stage. Now they have to work their ass off to make sure they get enough points from matchmaking to secure a spot in the wild card as well. But it's not over for Split Academy as well, as they move on, of course, to face Molotov Gaming in the next round. It looked good on some of the maps for Split Academy, but again, there's one map that usually troubles them enough that there's still some worries going into against Molotov Gaming. But last time it was still a very close match between the two when they faced off in the previous regional. So I'm hoping for some of the same as well.
Yep. So we're probably going to be starting the next match. It's going to be Molotov and Split Academy in approximately 5 or so minutes. So we're going to have a small break, and I'll be back with the lower bracket final, Molotov versus Split Academy. If Split Academy does make it, they basically secure their World Championship wildcard. If not, well, they'll have some matchmaking to do.
Yeah, and we will go on a short break, and once we're back, the loser bracket final is upon us. So don't go too far. We'll be right back. Hello once again. Hope you had a nice little break, and we're back once again with the Trackmania World Tour MEA Regional. It will be the loser bracket final, the penultimate match before the grand final. It is Molotov Gaming and versus Split Academy, as expected. But now the question is, can Split Academy actually do something against Molotov Gaming? So that's the bigger question.
Well, we'll have to see. It hasn't been the best track record for them. It has been, has been joked around. MEA is the 4-0-4-1 region. We actually have the thickened band starting right now. Speed is the first band. Speed hasn't been really the map we have seen that much in. I just sound like that in the MEA regionals that much. But we'll have to see what everything goes. The kind of pool has been banned as well. So in theory here, Molotov is being the number 2 team in the region. Always it has been Foot first, Molotov second, and no one has really climbed into that final outside of the 2 teams. And I feel like if Tomers and Benoxy with Split Academy can at least get their consistency back up and a bit up the pace, then maybe they can challenge some things here and there.
I mean, we already start off with a banger of Control. Last time it was an absolute barn burner between these two on this map, and it really came. It was overtime, and it came down to literally one round difference. So, but it seems Molotov Gaming have really upped their game on Control as well. So it's gonna be a tough task, and with Grip, Vortex, Off-Road, and then we have Airwalk, Frosty, and Sinuous to end us off. So no braking. So that map has been avoided successfully for each team. It seems that Molotov Gaming wasn't really feeling it to pick into it. I don't remember them being really comfortable on it as well, so most likely makes sense. But Frosty is still in the mix, so we'll have to see how far this series goes. It is a tough uphill battle, but if there's any team that can actually do something against Molotov Gaming apart from Foot Esports, I feel like Split Academy is the one to do it. But they have to be in the swing of it. They really have to get into the flow of it early on. Otherwise, Molotov Gaming are just gonna run away with this pretty quickly, I feel like.
I mean, overall in power rankings, as this mentioned, is that Split Academy is kind of the number 3 team in the region in a sense. In the rotor standings, they are number 5, so currently they're in this bit of this gray zone area. Let's just say like that. But we'll have to see. Molotov versus Split. For one of these teams, this will be their last regional and last match in the open circuit part of the. So you definitely don't want to be the team that gets eliminated. Of course, the advantage is in the Molotov is the favorable team. But we'll have to see. Maybe Split can finally cause the upset here.
That's only one way to find out, as the loser bracket final between Molotov Gaming and Split Academy, Huso and Ignite versus Benoxy and Tomers. And we start off Control, and I've said it many times, it is one of my favorite maps to spectate and also to drive, so it has a good flow to it. It's just that, the jumps into the bobsleighs where the struggle begins, but overall I feel like it's a good mix of difficulty, but at the same time it has a lot of good aspects to it. Make it very exciting to watch, and we see already that Molotov Gaming are starting off really well. Benoxy had a bit of an awkward landing on the transition to the uphill, but he's still in the mix, so nobody's really that far behind to say definitely, this round is going to be an ace or a draw or a victory. It's all to play for, but Molotov Gaming are definitely looking the better end of it. Benoxy does have to sacrifice a few lines to go a bit slower, but Huso clips the inside, so that puts Split Academy in a good advantageous position. If Ignite doesn't make a mistake here in the end, and neither does Tomers or Benoxy, and it is a draw to start us off. The classic Control draw is here, so let's see how this one will pan out.
Yeah, it was a bit on the closer end. Huso almost sniped it. One thing to mention is that Ignite is a Cam 3 player. There aren't that many of them, let's just say like that. And he's the only Cam 3 player in the region as well.
As long as he switches camera for the identity. If he does it in Cam 3, holy moly.
I personally play it in camera 3. It's easier because you see the lineups better.
I prefer, if I had to drive that identity, I do prefer Cam 1 to get a wider aspect of it, because I can see where my landing is and then switch to Cam 2. But Cam 3, of course, is also a good opportunity, technically a good option as well, because yeah, as you said, it's a good way to line up the jump. But Ignite, that is definitely not the way you want to line up that jump. And Molotov Gaming having struggle here at the moment. Ignite and Huso are very far behind. Penoxy and Tomers, I mean, if they at least take a look at the splits for a moment, they should know that they don't need to go for anything massive here. Tomers gets across the line, but it allows for another draw. Penoxy did not have to fully send it there. He could have literally just jumped across and that would have been enough. Ah, that's an ace given away. That's a free ace there.
And that's what's the crazy part. They could have been in the lead on Molotov's pick. On top of that,
with an ace as well.
What is that setup? He was way too much to the left, because the way how you do it, because it's very unique block for the bounce. There's actually like this colored pixel that you can use with the right wheel to basically align yourself with a good setup, and you get it always. He was so far to the left of that setup that there was like no way of making that. That's so unfortunate, because that could have been the part that, you know, could have potentially. I really hope that this does not ruin their momentum of the way how they have started the match, because they kept looking pretty well. Molotov has been the team that looks the shakiest. I mean, we're not the best bobsled there from both of the players, but thankfully at least Huso's mistake does give still that breathing room for Split Academy for now. But it's a bit up on Ignite. Ignite has been quite consistent. He does that consistent setup that I just talked about.
Again. It's happened again.
Commerce as well. And they give away now ace to Molotov. They had so many open rooms and everything like that, and they just don't use it.
It's now 2 rounds in a row where they have been in a position to take very good points away, but now it's the consistency that we've been praising Split Academy at the moment, in most cases, is really faltering them. I don't know if it's the opposition sometimes that can throw you off a bit more, knowing that Molotov Gaming is a lot faster than you, technically on paper, that you have to just go for it. But I feel like a lot of these mistakes could have been easily avoided. Like, they know that they have been making mistakes, or at least I hope they keep an eye on the splits. It's a very important thing to do. You have to at least somewhat know where your position is. I don't know if play with cars on if you really need to, but you have to check the splits to just know where your opponents are. Do you need to push? Do you need to go for it? Do you have a chance that maybe you can push a bit less? So you have to keep track of this. And I feel like Split Academy have thrown away very simple things for gaps that should have really not been needing to be pushed, to be honest.
And one of the things that I noticed that Molotov have a bit changed their playstyle now. Because the first few rounds they were full sending a bit, they were looking very off. Now they're just trying to play a bit more on the safer ends and get the things going. Binoxy is, let's just say like that, we're not playing anymore against Southern Speedstores or CI or something like that. Here a mistake, let's just say like that, you gotta use the parts where opponents do make a mistake. And you actually have to off the pace if you want to win something here. And they were given the opportunities very early on the map, and they did not use them. And now we're at A2 due to that.
Yeah, it looked very promising. Again, like, Split Academy are in the mix. Like, yes, A2 is the scoreline, which can look a bit deceiving, but they've been in the mix. Like, it's not that they have been far apart every round, like miles away. They're in the mix, but it just has come down to like one little detail in the end. And Molotov Gaming are more than happy to take advantage of that. You can see that they are noticing themselves as well that they don't really need to push because they're 8-2 up. They're 6 points ahead. As long as they do it clean, they are now more than happy to outpace Split Academy, even with not the most optimal or fastest lines. You can see it's working wonders. No major mistakes across the board, but they're half a second in front basically. And Uso a bit ambitious, but still gets the landing. And that's an ace, and that's 3 aces in a row with an 11-2 scoreline. And what looked like a very promising start to the map has now completely turned on its head, and Molotov Gaming take it rather comfortably in the end.
Yeah, 58's both done by both players. Those are pretty solid round times, honestly. And actually what happened there, that Thomas and Benoxy started to also play way better. Like their round times in the previous round were way better than they had previously. So if they had just done the same thing that they did in the last round, every other round, this could have been their map, but sadly did not work out like that. And now we go to Grip, which is Split Academy's pick. So this is the map that's Split has chosen. So they could at least look a bit better, or at least play during the normal map, or the most of the map, if even on the opponent's pick. We'll have to see how it goes right now. Not the best of starts, already 0.1, 0.2 disadvantage coming out of the first rampart. Molotov is literally trying to play a bit more on the safer end. Top 3 is relatively closely tight. Benoxy is definitely the weak link in this match. But on a bit weird bounce there from Tomer, still makes it through. Oh, that could have been very close to a bounce from Tomer's setup there. But still did not lose that much. Benoxy's as well, waiting for a mistake from everyone else. Fuso looked a bit shaky, almost flew off. Still got Tomer's got a very good momentum out of it. Got even the overtake on Ignite. Oh, he closes in. Not the best ending there from Tomers, because he had a small release at the exit point, but it's going to be a victory for Molotov. Actually, not too shabby of a run. We have seen so many Fiestas, I think, in MEA so long it's got a bit, let's just say, unusual to see a proper round for the first time.
I mean, it is refreshing, but it just shows. The thing with which I feared for Split Academy with this pick is that this is not the most difficult map on paper. It is a very pace map, and Ignite and Uso, I feel like, are a lot more formidable opponents than Split Academy might give them the benefit of the doubt here. Yes, it is their first pick, but this time I feel like consistency is not going to be the only thing that will do them well. Uso has a bit of trouble on the dirt, but they really need to make sure Ignite is the one they get past. So this is going to be very reminiscent of what they were facing against Foot Esports. Yes, one of the members of Molotov Gaming is out, but one of them, most of the time at least it seems, is Ignite, who's able to hold out up front, and it is exactly what Ignite will do. It will be a draw, and it's getting flashbacks from Foot Esports versus Split Academy. This is exactly what happened the last time. They get a clean round, but they cannot get first position, and that means it will just prolong the match, with Molotov Gaming just can draw it out until they get to 10 points.
I mean, the scoreline is still pretty close. One ace, and they can go back in the lead for splits. Molotov also isn't. They're looking definitely way more equal than on any other map we have seen so far. Let's see what can do. Benoxy has been the weakling.
Yeah.
Benoxy has been the main weakling, so he's a bit of like the Ragnar of this matchup. He kind of is the player who kind of steers what happens. Who saw way too much, tried to get into the middle of the left and got the bounce forced out of him. Ignite is leading. Thomas gets a pretty solid net. He always gets solid exit speed. Semi-Benoxy now. It's gained on Ignite for tiny bits. But it's not going to change. It's going to be another draw. Thomas did gain a bit at the very, very end, but it was not enough. And it's still going to be Molotov's lead, but it's still very close scoreline. 4-3 so far.
Yeah, but this is proving to be a bit of a struggle now. Yes, it is very close indeed, but that is exactly what Split Academy don't need. But they do need to see at least Huso having a moment on the checkpoint, so that gives them breathing space. But again, they have to get past Ignite, and Ignite has been very formidable. Probably he's definitely the better member of Molotov Gaming if we have to give them praise between the two, but now Ignite is the one that has to somewhat push. Thomas has been the one contesting him constantly, and now he is the one now behind. So let's see how Ignite can perform in a situation where he doesn't have to hold on for first. He's the one that has to push for first. But Benoxy falls off, and Huso is now the one in the mix there. Ignite needs to send this, and it's exactly what he's doing, but they're neck and neck, really nothing to separate them. And with that exit, he takes it, and Huso, taking advantage of Benoxy falling off, takes the victory. And that's just a slow way of getting towards those 10 points. It's not much, but it's enough to just crawl their way towards the point cap they need. And Split Academy are just left sort of empty-handed, you know. You have a chance, but not the ability to take the advantage of it.
But it's honestly, it's kind of weird to see that whenever there's like an open room where finally Split can get an advantage building up everything, and they just don't use it, and it's kind of a bit losing that.
Yeah, and Huso and Ignite now are both up front, and this is feeling like once Huso gets into the track without any mistakes, and Tomer's falling off, but Huso now falls off as well. As soon as I give him any praise, he falls off as well. So it is Ignite in first. Oh, but Benoxy hits. That was so unnecessary input there, and it allows for. Ah, Huso still falls off. So it is a draw in the end, but yeah, it's a plethora of things going wrong. But in the end, it's another draw. It is 7-5, but Ignite just holds on. And it's more than enough at the moment. 7-5, track point, and one ace away from taking it to 2-0.
Again, another draw. I mean, the winning time was at least a decent time, but so Split at least tried to do their best in that situation, but I feel like this is gonna be the main make it or break it for Split for something to happen in this match. Because this map, I feel like, will just paint a picture on how the rest of the maps will go. Because then they will have to do a proper uphill battle if they lose their own map pick. So, but they always tend to risk. What I've noticed, Split always risks when they just need to save, and they get those mistakes popping out from that. And they just lose all the leads that they could, or the opportunities. Oh, that was a very good exit speed by Tomers. Got the overtake on Ignite going. Tomers always doesn't get the base. Oh, this very good movement.
Oh, he takes it!
He does it. Blah. That's what I'm talking
3000s!
about.
Oh, there it is. That is exactly what Split Academy have been trying to do for the last rounds from control onwards to get an ace. And they do it, and that is one of the most crucial times to do it. They're 7-8, but now they have to make it count. They've finally taken the ace they deserved, but they cannot allow to just throw it, because Molotov Gaming can still do an ace. And I'm gonna be honest, Molotov Gaming have looked a lot more convincing of taking that ace rather than Split Academy, and we see already the first signs of that as well, as we are edging ever so closer towards the end of the track.
Yeah, but if they do get if Molotov now gets the ace, then that previous round was kind of for nothing. As they need to maintain the 1 and 2 for Molotov, and then I will deny the great momentum swing that happened for Split. Just one player just overtaking is enough, and it will be the case. Huso does mess up the end, and both Split players will overtake. It will be a draw instead of an ace. And Split Academy is just 1 point away on actually securing their map pick in this matchup. But if Molotov does get an ace or a victory, then I'll just say it will not be over for them just yet.
Well, good start for everybody. Nobody misses the checkpoint and doesn't put the other teammate in a precarious position. But it's a good start for everybody. But it is now who's willing to lend themselves to the pressure. So far, no major mistakes, but it has been Benoxy who constantly falls behind. He does give us a good POV every single round, but it is now important. Tomers, ideally for Split Academy, they need first position. That would secure them the track point. If one of them gets second, then it is indeed most likely going to be an overtime. So Tomers, it's sort of a case where you want to risk, but you don't want to fall off. He's giving it all, but Ignite is there. But Tomers is sending it, and he pulls it off. What a great way to end this. And Benoxy even overtakes Huso in the end. It's 9-11. Split Academy take a very hard-fought track point, but they take one off Molotov Gaming, and that must feel like a sigh of relief after how they started on Control.
Yeah, that looks like a one big phew.
That is, yeah, it's a proper save. Like, oh, God, if there's like a meme of like a sweat dripping off of somebody's face, it's Split Academy. Just like, oh, God forbid we got it. Thank the Lord. But now they go on to Vortex, a map we haven't actually seen in at least on the mainstream. I don't know about the other matches that weren't streamed, but actually first time seeing Vortex on the stream, I believe.
You know what this happens is that this, if Split Academy do take another map win, this will be, okay, the last time there was a 4-2 result in MEA was Stage 1 Regional 3 lower quarterfinals when the same team, previously under the Letos Cook name, now Split Academy, won against a team called Press W 4-2. That was the last time there was a 4-2 scoreline in MEA. So if Split Academy does take it, then this will be the first 4-2 of this stage, and hopefully not the last one.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but it is Molotov Gaming's map pick, and it is Vortex, and we already see Benoxy is miles behind, so Thomas really needs to be. And if I remember correctly, Split Academy didn't have the most wondrous adventures on this map, so I would presume that Molotov Gaming are gonna take it quite comfortably, and they start off quite comfortably. It is an ace for Molotov Gaming. Benoxy is getting through it, which is at least he gets through the identity here and gets a bit of practice in. But 12 seconds, a bit too far behind.
104.5 is it's pretty okay. Let's just say it like that. It is better what I can do.
I mean, it's most cases it's probably a lot better than many players, even people in chat can probably do. So you should see why Huso and Ignite are one of the top teams in MEA. Even regardless of that, they are quite fast. And Benoxy again an incident on the quarter pipe. So Thomas again has to be the one to deny an ace here.
Yeah, despite like Molotov being also like, let's just say a bit in a different tier than Foot. They are like still competing with a lot of other regions number 2 teams as well. Where they, I remember in the from a relegation event where they, for example, did get past the best APAC teams as well. So they still can do some damage as well outside of let's just say endemic events. So we'll have to see if they can do that. Split Academy is definitely one of the next contenders in line. They have not played in any other events outside of the regionals as well. But this most likely will be the place where we might see them in the wildcard if they, let's just say like that, put some bit effort into MM. Another mid 104. In general, like Molotov doing the 104s is forcing Split Academy to risk more, and it kind of really puts them off quite a bit. So this is Molotov's pick. Let me check. So probably after this we're gonna see Offroad, which is Split Academy's pick. So who knows how this all might get tossed in this match.
That is indeed true. But given how Benoxy is not, the quarter pipe is just his menace. He has 3 rounds in a row and he hasn't gotten it clean a single time. So I feel like this is just now running down the clock for Split Academy. I don't think there is any real much that they can really do about it. There's a reason why Molotov Gaming picked this map and they look quite comfortable on it, especially how consistent of the times they've been having. So it seems that if anything, as soon as I speak, of course, Huso has a moment on probably one of the pipes that you really don't see any mistakes, because that is literally a press forward spinner, but even the best can make mistakes on that. But I feel like it's sort of like a cherry on top, I guess, sort of like icing on the cake. Split Academy get 1 point out of this, but that is still gonna be an 8-1 scoreline, which, given the context of the current match, it seems quite impossible to get back, unless, I know, Benoxy somehow finds their inner Carl Jr. and starts just pulling off world records in a row.
Yeah, but all the time winning round time is 104, either 0.5, 0.6. That's not too bad, honestly. But I mean, they're just 1 victory away. This looks like a very dominant showing from Molotov. This might be the round when we end it, so they either just need looks like okay, it was a mistake from Split Academy team. So it looks like Split Academy just wants to be done with this map quickly, so they can, okay, let's just finally play our own pick finally, so they can, let's just say match starts for them, because they can't get proper challenge going on this month. However, Thomas is on first place right now, but that approach doesn't look the best, at least for that part.
Yeah, it is Thomas and Benoxy again. Like I said, it's the 4th round and the 4th quarter pipe inside. Probably gotta go back and take a look at that quarter pipe once more. But Thomas at the moment at least is trying his best, but we can see that yes, as we preluded as well, Molotov Gaming are very comfortable on this map. There was only one incident by Huso. Other than that, 104s every single round by both members, and it is as clean as you're gonna get. It's 11-1, and it seems that Split Academy's strategy now is they have to take all of their map picks. I mean, that's the only way they can really contest Molotov Gaming, because the picks that they go for, it seems, are very comfortable. But Split Academy have to ritually sweat their ass off to make sure they get their own map pick, simply.
Well,
but off-road as well, it didn't look so convincing for Split Academy against CI, to be honest. So it's very hard to say if they can take this one.
Well, this is their pick, but if it goes like it went last map, then you know, it's gonna be a bit rough on their side. But this is the preferred pick from Split. Or at the same time, Molotov is also looking pretty decent on this map.
Yeah, but
overall,
it feels
Molotov
like
is better,
though.
but it's kind of hard to say. Yeah.
Yeah, but you sort of already know what Split Academy are gonna pick. You know that they always go for grip and off-road. So as Molotov Gaming, if you know if you're gonna play against Split Academy, you already know you're gonna get these two maps, and I feel like that really puts a detriment into their you know, depth, I would say, because yes, you can be consistent on those maps, but I mean, Molotov Gaming can just be like, yeah, we'll just quickly train a bit more grip and off-road and take you to 4-0. This time it didn't work out so well. They were able to still take grip in the end, but I feel like it sort of speaks volumes to the depth as well, and we see that Penoxy has a bit of a flight there, is able to continue, but Molotov Gaming looking quite comfortable and looking to take this one with an ace to start them off, unless a 3 incident. Doesn't seem like it, so it is an ace for 3-0, and that is looking good. No mistakes, but just a pace difference.
55-6 as well, and not too bad of a time as well from Molotov. Actually, in general, everyone did a close time to their personal best that round, but I think that clearly showed that Molotov definitely has the superior pace this time around. This is not like in the previous match where the team that wins is the one that saves the most. This here you actually need to know how to play with a solid momentum out of the rounds. Yeah. As you can see, like, Split tries to go for the wider line, having a bit more safer approach, while Molotov trying to and can execute the other parts of the triangle way a bit better with the same consistency as Split. Busa is even playing a bit safe, just trying to maintain their positions, and looks like that will be enough, as that's going to be another ace, another 55. And Split can't really do anything against Molotov and their own pick.
Yeah, that is looking pretty good for them. Basically, I don't know what else to say, to be honest. It's looking quite dire for Split Academy. It is, as I said, their map depth is not that big, and Molotov Gaming can take very good advantage of it, and Penoxy not having a good time as well right now. So Molotov Gaming are just now putting in a solid performance on off-road, and I feel like it really suits their style as well. It's a nice map for them, and we can clearly see why as well. They are just feeling the moment, having a good time, nothing really to phase them. It's just flawless at the moment. Yes, a bit of topsy-turvy for Huso there, but he gets a much better boost there, and he's much better off here, and that just looks like a good way to end the match here. Well, not quite yet, but they will of course get another ace on the board. That is now 9-0, and they are looking to make this a quick 4-round affair and possibly a 12-0 affair as well.
I will just say this from in-game chats: the Team Split Academy is very surprised by Molotov's performance on this map. And it kind of gave me the vibes of the first DMCL promo relegation event, when it was like the first like cross-region events of the circuit. And especially a lot of the non-European teams are like, wait, they just pick our own best laps guide, I think. They'll play
Yeah.
secret, and from that, like most teams kind of learned, okay, kind of need to play in secret to not show what's your best maps and everything like that. So I'm getting a bit of deja vu from a situation what happened there. But in the meanwhile, Molotov looking good, looking pacey as well, while Split Academy just trying to risk it, and from risk that mistakes just pop out, and this is the reason why they're on the back end on their own map.
Yeah, it is of course Ignite having a bit of a moment on the ice, but currently it's not gonna make much of a difference because Huso can literally stop on the line, or I don't know, take a moment to respawn even if he wanted to, because it's still gonna be enough. Ignite comes in third, and it is a victory for Molotov Gaming. It is an 11-1. That was probably the quickest conclusions to a map we've seen so far, and it was a quite a quick one as well. It wasn't like, oh, it was mistakes all across the board. No, Molotov Gaming, quick, easy, done, dusted, move on to the next map. And it is their pick as well, and a match point possibility on Airwalk as well.
Actually, what's crazy, one of the slowest winning round time was a 55-8, to give an idea. Most matches do not have that as the slowest winning round time, even in Europe.
Yeah, it just shows. I mean, it shows how well, like, if Molotov Gaming can get the pace going, Ignite is always enjoying a fun time, and if Uso can follow along in his footsteps, I mean, it's very hard to really take points off of them. As we said, Foot Esports are the only real match to them. Otherwise, Molotov Gaming are a very formidable opponent. I mean, yes, I will say kudos to Split Academy for taking a track off of them, but I feel like now the momentum is truly theirs. Ignite does clip on the inside, goes a bit too much there, pushes a bit too much there, but again, they're enjoying their time, I feel like, and it is basically Split Academy who have to fully send it to really put a dent into the points and to get some track points to go, because they got really just swept on their own map pick, and now they have to do it against Molotov Gaming on Airwalk as well, which is not gonna be an easy task. And I can already hear the engine sound of Ignite. He's literally right there behind Split Academy, and I think he can really send it in the end as well, and he does so. But Huso missed. I didn't really catch that. He completely missed the finish, and it's Split Academy to take the victory instead. So again, you know, what looks to be like a really easy round turns the other way around.
I mean, if you remember from the last match where Kuba Bibi was always winning the rounds and everything like that on this map, and Split Academy was just trying to play safe, and they kind of, you know, won the map in the end with that, I feel like that's the same pattern here as well. They're not that fast compared to Molotov, but they just try to win on consistency, and as mentioned in the last map, that getting the identity on this is very easy, just risking it makes it, you know, makes it so inconsistent, because you want to really reduce that forwards momentum, or sorry, reduce that higher or height momentum, and just want to have a direct jump as possible and reach the booster as fast as you can, and that is the thing that makes those mistakes and weird bounces happen when the players just hit the sides of the bumper and everything like that. We'll have to see this time around. Looks like Molotov does get the ace. Split Academy was trying to dare await the mistake, but it was not enough, and it's going to be an ace for Molotov. And I think we're not going to sadly see a 4-2 here. I don't think there's not going to be a single 4-2, I feel like, in the whole of Stage 2 in MEA.
Well, we'll have to wait and see for that one. I mean, I did expect, of course, for Huso. I don't think he would make the same mistake again. I do believe that at that point he was sort of slightly releasing as well, just to ensure that he doesn't hit the finish. But Ignite has a bit of a struggle on this one. Not the most cleanest performance that we've seen so far from him compared to the other maps. So it is Huso that has to do it. So he cannot afford another similar mistake from round 1. Because Thomas and Benoxy are not far behind, so he can take it. I feel like he can still take it rather safely, but once he hesitates in the end, then that allows Split Academy to go up in front. So can he actually do it? He doesn't need to do much. He only needs to just end up in the finish, and it seems that that is exactly what he's gonna do. And Benoxy has to go for a respawn as well, but Ignite, oh my god, he just barely gets it. So just barely gets the finish.
but Oxy was like couple pixels away from actually hitting the bumper. He was very, very, very close, but it was not enough, sadly.
But that's enough for Molotov Gaming to get to 3-point gap, and that's looking a lot more spicier for Split Academy. I feel like they are in the mix. They just, again, once it matters, they're not able to really take advantage of those mistakes, because Ignite is not the one to usually make mistakes, and it's happened a few times now. But it's, again, what we've said already before. It's like once one of the members makes a mistake on Molotov Gaming, then all of a sudden Split Academy feel obliged to, be a gentleman and, do one across, but it's not really proven to be a very fruitful tactic. And we see that Molotov Gaming now, once the brakes are off, they are more than happy to just go for another ace here. If they can hold on to the end here, no real heroics needed, just a clean end. Ignite goes very low, but that's a very high jump, but just gets there. And it is an ace with a 9-3 as well.
55.5 is pretty good. That's one way to put it.
Yeah, it's a good time, yes. It's definitely good enough to secure first position, and as I said, take the ace. It's more than enough for them, and only 1 point away from going into the grand final against Foot Esports and the Split Academy. 3 aces or minimum 2 aces and a draw to take it to overtime. And so far, the judgment at least seems that unless Molotov Gaming combust here like a Molotov cocktail, then they really need to put in the best effort they've had so far from Split Academy.
So to give an idea, 0.5 is 0.3 from World Cup.
I mean, that's what the pace difference is. Like, Split Academy has consistency, but pace is the difference.
Yeah, not as many people can do that. Let's just say like that. That is like top 20 worlds at the moment. So that was a pretty good time. Let's just say like that, and this might be actually the final round for Split Academy in MEA Regionals. If yes, and Molotov does take it, they move on to the final. They'll be facing off against Foot Esports, and that will be the final round for Split Academy, as they are now eliminated from the regional, and they will have to fight for the matchmaking points to get into the wild card of the World Championship. And yeah, it's time for Molotov, or the El Clasico a bit, you can say like that. Molotov and Foot. Molotov especially showing this kind of pace that they can do, like, high level pace, solid consistency as a team together. I wonder what they will do against Foot. They had, let me double check, in the upper bracket final, they did lose to Foot 4-1, but we'll have to see how that will go this time around.
I mean, it's an El Clasico scoreline. Usually Molotov Gaming do get 1 track point, but that is as far as they ever really gotten. They haven't really been able to say, like, yes, we can actually give, like, a full map to the decider, or go even in the lead for track points. But, this is their final chance, really, this stage, to get that one up on them. Might as well end it on a good note, take Foot Esports down. But it's a tough task. I mean, Ignite and Huso look to be up to the task every time, but Chemku and Birdie are just an echelon higher than compared to Split Academy. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But don't go too far. Grand final
it was
is upon us. So
apologies. Yeah, I double checked it. So
well, there you go. Even not even a good news in that regard. But we'll have to wait and see. Maybe they can make a difference. Maybe that 1 day of rest, maybe a bit more practice can make the difference. But we're going on a quick break, and we'll be right back with the grand final of the last regional for this season, technically, for MEA. So don't go too far. We'll be right back. Hello, you beautiful people. We're back with the final match of the Trackmania World Tour MEA Regional. It has been a long journey here, but we are finally here. And as we said before, El Clasico is delivered. Molotov Gaming versus Foot Esports. And Foot Esports looking to make a clean sweep of the entire MEA Regional, and Molotov Gaming looking to take that one match. Just one match off of them, just to enjoy a bit of success against them. Just one. You know, not too much to ask.
I mean, this is the final chance for them to do
Yep.
that, because this is the final match of the whole World Tour for MEA. So
Maybe
they
in the
have to
wild card
use.
they can beat somehow. I don't know if
I
that's
was
even
thinking in
possible.
the regionals, like
But
this is in
regionals,
general. Like
yes.
for MEA, this is their final match. There's just one match left in all of the World Tour for MEA. And this is kind of their last chance to kind of ruin the streak for Foots. At the same time, for Foots, this is important to maintain their kind of legacy as the most dominant team when the introduction of the MEA regionals. And we'll have to see how things like that will look like. And Molotov has been looking good, but in the upper bracket final, where both teams met, it was a 4-0 in favor of Foot anyway. Despite we saw Molotov doing some really good stuff on airwalk and everything like that, but keep in mind they're playing against one of the best, or maybe even the best non-EU team in whole of the World Tour circuit right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be a tough task to do, and we'll have to see. Potentially, this is the best non-EU team in all of Stage 2, at least right now.
I mean, we saw it in the promo relegation. We've seen it in All Stars as well. Foot Esports can give a run for their money, even for the EU teams as well. So it's a very tough task to even begin to comprehend on how to do these things. Like, it's very hard to beat them.
I mean, to give an idea, Foot did beat BDS. They beat Schweinheim Racing 3-1. They lost to G1 1-3, and they lost Alternate Attacks 1-3. So they can take maps against, even TMCL and TMGL teams, even beat them a bit. So it can definitely show what they can do as a team together.
That is indeed true. Of course, All Stars, we take those results with a bit of grain of salt, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that...
I mean, a win is a win. It doesn't matter if it's
technically, if you win, it's still a win. You cannot take that away from them, and that's the most important part. But yeah, but it is something that we praise it all the time with Foot Esports. They are just that good that technically they can be in the EU regional and go the distance. I feel like they can really go far, even in the EU regionals, if we were to put them in a conceptual, hypothetical situation for that. But I feel like they are...
in that All-Stars event as well, one thing to mention, out of 32 players, Chemko was 6th best player in that tournament overall.
He puts good effort into everything. It's a good mentality to have, and that's it shows in his times as well. Like, it's
actually
so
now
amazing.
for Stage 2, since they're basically are quite set in stone, they just don't put that much effort in, but still they can put a very solid performance even in that, because now they spend an hour a day or something like that just to, spruce up a bit of the maps and in preparation for whole of Stage 2. And compared to some other teams, that is not that big of amount, but still the fact that even that not that big of a play count, they can still do some proper results and a proper performance on top of that. It's definitely something very notable.
Yeah, it's good to see. Like, the fact that I'm just happy that for Chimku, like, he's really just amazingly fast, and he has Birdie as a teammate as well. Like, it's such a nice power tool to have. Like, you can always rely on Chimku to just be at the top, and Birdie is fast as well, and they can do so much damage together. It's insane, and it's just joy to watch as well, like how well they do. And it just shows, like I've said this before as well, like, yes, they are so unreachable at some point, but I feel like it should be a motivator to show that how far you can reach if you put in the effort, and Chemku and Birdie both are a good sign of that.
I'm honestly a bit annoyed that you say Chemku. It's Chemko. Come on.
You always say it should be O in the end. Chemku is how you're supposed to pronounce it. What are you on about here, SRK, man? It should be the way it's
You're
not
literally
just
Chemko. The person who says Chemko. Even Chemko says it's Chemko, not Chemku, as you say.
That's how you told me to say. I'm really mad, SRK. I'm really mad.
When did I tell you how to say it? I said Chemko. Because you said Semku or something like
No,
that
I have always
originally.
said Chemko, and then you said I should say Chemku, and now I'm not supposed to
When
say
did I say
Chemko.
that? Come on. Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna get the oppassen, jongen. Okay, I'll say
I'll
Chemko,
blame
man.
you. Chemko, please properly for one match. Come on.
Yeah, now I'm still blaming you because I'm gonna pull up some DMs here how you said I'm supposed to pronounce it. I'm just but hey, I can't say it correct anyway. It's like it's easy to pronounce because of course the Russian language helps to pronounce complex words, and yeah, Chemko is not a hard one to say. I'm just really mad at him. I know, I have memory. I know this SRK. Don't put me here. Ugh. But we're still waiting, actually. Birdie hasn't joined the server.
Yeah, Birdies would be a bit of a shame if the grand final is all in DNS, but I
He has
really
5
hope
minutes.
that's not gonna be the case. I mean, yeah.
Oh, speaking of the devil, he's joined and the pick and ban is gonna go underway, so we can actually go into the game. Let's see here. Pick and ban has started. I hope it resumes properly here, and we can see if Birdie and Chemko can do well. No, I'm just being a bit annoying at the moment, don't worry about it. But yeah, it's fine. But either way, we have a final here between Molotov Gaming and Foot Esports, and we start off with a pick on Sinuous. Not a map we see that often, but it's a pick that Foot Esports really like to pull out just to annoy teams, I feel like, because not many teams really enjoy that map to the extent that Foot Esports do.
That's a very speedy pick and ban.
I mean, seems that they know what they want, and both teams know exactly how they're gonna do this. Yep, that's done. Sinuous, Control, Grip, Vortex, and then Frosty, Airwalk, and Braking. No speed still, but it was left to be a random pick, but no speed. Not even a hint of it in MEA. And that's how the cookie crumbles. And we'll see if Molotov Gaming can do something with this map pick order. Looking very good for them as well. You can see everybody in the spectators is ready to cheer on the teams. We won't be starting on Control.
The pick and ban will actually be restarted.
Oh, well.
That's why.
It seems that there was a bit too much speed in that pick and ban then.
Yeah.
Well, we go again then. Hopefully we can get it restarted properly. I don't know how, because the pick and ban did end, so I don't know how the real back end works when it actually has gone through and you have to restart it, but maybe it has to take a moment, I guess. We'll have to wait and see if we actually switch here. We are switching maps, so...
It's starting the old script, that's why. It has to go through and then it only can be restarted. It's a bit weird.
Okay, well, we get a nice starting screen still. At least you know what you're expecting. It's no surprises here. Foot Esports with Birdie and Chemko, and Huso and Ignite for Molotov Gaming. But as you heard, we will most likely restart the pick and ban, and everybody will just have a nice way to enjoy the start. But there is the pick and ban, and here we go. Surely the second, third time is the charm. Hopefully they pick the right ones this time. I wonder if they change anything this time around. Ignite, banning pool. Okay. What does Chemko do? Or at least what Foot Esports do? Do they do the same thing again? Giving it a bit more thought this time. Maybe they saw the initial pick and ban and maybe do a bit differently. Will it be still Sinuous to start us off though? Taking their sweet time this time. Well, it's more than fine. Clearly they want more screen time as well. But they are giving it a good thought here. I don't know if there is gonna be another restart here because it's taking quite a bit.
I'm not getting big indications from this.
Yes, so we'll see here if we get... Oh, there is a pan of Control. Okay. Do they pick Sinuous? Question mark?
It is Foot spec.
It is their pick, yeah. They're taking their sweet time with this one. I guess they don't want to rush it this time. Maybe a misclick. Just to avoid... they go to Braking. Okay. So we won't be seeing Sinuous to start. Although Braking was a bit of a, you know, a bit of a map for everybody. Vortex next. I feel like Foot Esports are now gonna try a bit of fun here, because these are not the usual picks they go for, so it seems they want to at least give us a bit of a showing here, because yeah, the Sinuous and those picks seem to much... Okay, there it is. It is a third pick this time. But what do they go for next here? Airwalk. I would assume they go for Grip here next for Chemko. Maybe Frosty even. Off-road seems like both teams can do well on that map. Yep, Grip is next, and I would assume that off-road is gonna be next. And maybe a speed decider. And there it is! Frosty picked them speed as a decider if we get to map number 7. No off-road this time. So it's, we have a bit of a different map pick this time. Not the same order, but then a few surprises as well. Now hopefully this one will actually go through as well.
Yeah, this one will go. It's basically the previous match script is live, and it's gonna be restarted on top of it, and then we're gonna be live.
And there you go. I mean, there's always a solution, and there's always a way to circumvent and get back to the right way. And here is the right way, but we start off on braking. Now I am curious to see how they perform on this map, because we've seen all kinds of performances here by various teams, so it's very hard to know where these two teams sit in here and on this map. And for those who don't know why we're here, Foot Esports and Molotov Gaming, the grand final, of course. We'll say it again. There won't be a glorious start yet, of course. We have a bit of a warm-up, make sure people are all ready to go. But this is now it. The grand final of the last Trackmania World Tour MEA Regional for this stage, and for the foreseeable future, at least for now, until we get through everything else. It is Foot Esports and Molotov Gaming starting on braking, and we'll see how things will go. And I hope to see a more cleaner rounds on braking. I feel like both teams can do this. It's now the case of who's willing to let the pressure get to them, as Huso and Birdie are the first to make the mistake, and allows for Ignite and Chemko to be the ones up at front. But it's definitely not over, because they are really close by, and one little thing can take a difference here. Can they hold the front here? It is a victory position for Foot Esports at the moment. Huso able to catch it, but loses the ice there. So it is up to Ignite to hold perhaps a draw, or at least take a point from Molotov Gaming here. Close by, and you can definitely risk the end. So this gap of 4/10 is definitely not over, but you really have to send it to catch up, because it's only one segment for the easy version. And yeah, Chemko is not gonna let it go, but he does! He clips the edge, he pushes a bit too much, and it allows for Huso to come in and take the victory. I speak too soon, SRK.
Huso as well messed up the end, so somehow still he managed even to be ahead of Chemko. But yeah, that's a very good start for Molotov. And actually, one thing I wanted to mention is that since this is the final MEA regional, there hasn't been a non-Turkish player in any of the MEA regional finals. So it always has been a Turkish player in the finals. Hopefully, maybe next year we might see some new names in the finals for this region. And so far, definitely has shown that the Turkish scene has been the strongest one in the region, at least so far.
Yeah, but there's a good reason for them as well. They're the teams that the players that are in this region, the 4 at least are the best 4 players are, of course, from Turkish. But we'll have to wait and see. I mean, the opportunity is there. We see Split Academy showing signs of life, and I feel like they have the potential there to give Molotov Gaming a more run for their money. They did give a few troubles for them, but it's still a very long off-road for them. But can Chemko get it this time? No issues. This time it gets it clean, but it's only a bit of a nice way of getting another draw in, as Birdie has come in 4th place at the moment and not looking really comfortable on braking to start off. I don't know why they picked this. I am considering the fact that they're just gonna go for a bit more fun picks for the final maps, because braking is not a map that I would associate with Foot Esports to be one of their better maps, to be honest.
Yeah, the whole pick and ban, actually, the map list is a bit unique. Let's just say very unusual, especially for this region, but we'll have to see if it goes. As mentioned, we haven't seen a 4-2 or a more closer scoreline than that in the whole stage. So that might actually open up some room here for that. Birdie as well, not with the best start. As mentioned in the very start of the day, that this is the map where a mistake can snowball into multiple seconds of a time loss, and Chemko is out. And now Molotov are on trying to get an ace already, with a pretty nice of a time difference given for them as well. As it's almost 0.7 between Chemko and Ignite. See what happens to the identity. Bit risky from Ignite. He messes up. And Birdie as well falls off. It's gonna be a victory for Molotov. So they are still extending their lead, but it could have been a bit better as well.
Yeah, but we come down to the point again, like, there's no real reason to push for Ignite. He could have taken it safely. Yes, Chemko was quite nearby, but I feel like even taking it safely, he would have been well off. But it's just a simple thing of giving points to Foot Esports, and they are still literally, they get one ace and they're literally in front again. So you really gotta not allow these little things to make the difference, because once Birdie gets into this again, and it's gonna be a really tough task for Molotov Gaming, because they cannot allow for these points to drop, and they are 2 points ahead, which is a good start. But they now have to hold it, which is probably even tougher to do than just getting a few points on the board. So we'll have to see, as everybody is in the mix. No mistakes so far. Everybody's pushing. Birdie overtaking Huso as well, and even Birdie going for a better ice section and overtaking both of the members. But a bit of a wobble on the dirt allows to bring balance back to the match. Everybody, there's a sandwich made between Foot Esports and Molotov Gaming players. It comes down to the identity, who's willing to push more. Birdie's trying to go for it, but it is safe enough. But does he have more speed? Oh, he was so afraid of clipping the edge there that he turned too much to the left and fell off the edge. He would have actually had Ignite in the end, but just a bit too much, and cooked a bit too much.
That was a very weird oversteer there.
Maybe fat fingered the left button. I don't know what happened there. It was really hard left there. It wasn't like even a tap. It was just a full hard left there, which was pretty odd. But you know, can happen to the best of us. You know, we're still human at the end of the day. So we cannot, of course, get it every single round. And we've seen variations of that identity. Some people go for the safe approach. Some people really try to push it towards the bitter end, towards those light bulbs, and just trying to make sure they somehow survive. But that usually ends up in you clipping, and then you have to respawn. So it's been a bit of a back and forth here. A few victories there, a few draws. But Foot Esports are still an ace away from just going into the lead. And it's been looking pretty good. And Birdie again up front with Chemko here. And it is Huso and Ignite who really need to catch up now. But their identity has been a lot more impeccable and a lot more formidable when we compare it to Foot Esports. But they really have to send it now, and they cannot afford a mistake here. And it seems that this time Birdie is not going to allow it to happen twice. Huso goes for it, but not close enough. 2/10 of a second, or 200ths of a second to be more correct. And it is the ace that I was speaking of. 7-6, and Molotov Gaming need to do a bit more now.
Yeah, that was actually a solid round on breaking. You don't usually see that decent of rounds on breaking, even at TMGL, TMCL level even at. So that's kind of rare thing to witness. As the times also weren't that bad. 101 low as the last place time as well. So that's a decent pace as well, even from the bottom players. Let's see what happens to this one. Foots does need an ace. And then they will be able to take over their map pick. They definitely had a shaky start, especially from Birdie. Birdie's definitely looking more consistent, because as soon as Birdie starts to pick up, the melee starts to play a bit better, and the whole Foot lineup starts to be elevated with that, as Chemko does his job properly, but Ignite bounces out, hits with the small side thingy on the side. Oh, what a rest from Huso, but does not pay off. Wait, Birdie has to respawn as well. Wait, where is Ignite? Ignite with mistake is still behind, so no way.
No,
Birdie split out.
Oh no.
And Molotov does get a draw. Foot is still in the lead, but they just need a victory for next time.
People are really cooking this end. Like, they really are underestimating the speed they're getting here at the end. Like, of course, for those who don't know, perhaps it, like, yes, it is engine off, but with the reactor you can still accelerate and gain speed. So it's not as simple as that. Yeah, you are at a certain speed. You can actually gain more speed with the reactor on engine off, and it has gotten a lot of players, and we see that as well. Like Birdie, Ignite, Huso, even Chemko has been a victim to that, just overcooking it a bit. But now with Huso being almost a second behind, I mean, Ignite really needs to push for a draw here at minimum, or hope that Huso can overtake one of these players as well. But it's once Chemko gets going, it's very hard to stop him, to be honest. It's really hard to stop him. And Birdie is again back in the mix, so we'll have to see how they do for this round. It's all up to Ignite at this point to just fully send it.
Well, still, Foot in a very good position. Chemko in the front as always. Kind of bit to realize on Birdie, honestly. And this will be an ace. Yes, it's a nice and easy round finally from them. Chemko with another 1 minute 0.5. And they secured their map pick as we go on to Molotov's pick, which was Vortex.
Yep, that is indeed so. But Vortex looked pretty good. I will say, like, if we saw against Split Academy, like, of course, Split Academy weren't able to do much against Molotov Gaming, but Molotov Gaming looked really consistent. There was only one mistake from Huso at one round, but overall they were really clean with this. And it wasn't like, oh, they were just getting through the map in a somewhat pace. They were putting in some good round times for Vortex as well. So was looking good, but can they do it again against Foot Esports? That is the question to be answered, and it all starts with this first round. They really need to get something going here. But the important part is, can they do it consistently? Pace is there, but can they do the same performance that they did against Split Academy? Looking so far so good. Everybody gets the quarter pipe, so they don't get the benefit of Benoxy having a quarter pipe incident every round. So they now really have to do the identity perfect in every aspect. And we see Birdie going for the box light strat. It is something that you don't see often. Not many players often do go for that, but Chemko, too much on the inside, hits the corner there, and it's up to Birdie to hold the flag here. But usually it has been the case. If one of the members has a bit of a struggle, the other is able to do much. But Ignite, I don't know what was the idea there. He went for a really weird line for that pipe. He really didn't need to do that, but it is now a draw position. So Huso, if he gets it clean, it will be a draw. Birdie, I mean, he doesn't have the speed to catch up here. He usually has a good end, but that's too much to catch up, and it will be a draw unless other incidences. Nope, it is a draw for this round. So the usual start to Foot Esports Molotov Gaming match. It's a draw.
Well, could have been worse. 104.3. That is not too bad of a time, let's just say like that. Definitely an improvement what we saw from Molotov versus Split Academy matchup, where 0.5s, 0.6s were done. Definitely Molotov starting to up the pace. I feel like some of the mistakes might come from just trying to increase the speed and times that they can set during the rounds. I mean, Molotov definitely looks very capable of just like causing some damage to Foot.
But it is
small leads, still a close back so far. Oh, Huso got a very nice approach there, but still not the best part from Ignite. So Huso did gain on everyone, but Ignite lost. Huso is really sending it. Gets an overtake both on Chemko and Ignite. I'm starting to catch up on Birdie. We actually have a race here. It comes down to identity. Oh, Chemko had a very good exit speed right there. Everyone does make it. Very better setup for Foot. And that's going to be an ace for Foot. A very solid round from everyone. 104 is all around. One of the best rounds, honestly, I have seen on this map in regionals.
Yeah, that was a good round. Huso did go a bit too high on the wall right, so it meant that he clipped the upper part of the quarter pipe there. So, but it wouldn't have made a difference there. Chemko had a really good exit. The entry into the identities matters even more so, because if you get the perfect drift before that, it will give you so much speed. And Birdie having a bit of Narnia moment on the jump goes really high. It puts him almost a second behind. But that's the difference on the identity. It all basically is the drift before it. But now Birdie has to do a bit of catch up. But it does allow... Oh, but Chemko again! The same spot as before. And it's now looking like a counter race, to be honest, from all of the gaming.
Nah, Ignite is having a bit of incidents there. Ignite was looking very shaky at that part. He still lives, still lives. He lost like 0.8. So this can be a counter race, but we'll have to see what happens at the end. We have seen some very weird lines coming out from Molotov. They have a 0.8 advantage coming to the identity. They get the pipe. No weird air times. They also trying to play safe. They lose a bit of momentum, but no point of that. Not so fast times, but they played it safe at the end. So no point of risking it. And it's gonna be a counter race. So Molotov are still in.
Yes, that is a good way to do it. That is exactly what they need to do. Once they do make mistakes, like Molotov needs to just immediately bounce on it. And it's exactly what they do. We see, of course, various tactics on the start as well. Some people elect to stay still and wait for the spin to come around. Birdie, for example, is the one that reverses a bit and then goes for the acceleration afterwards. It doesn't really noticeably make much of a difference. I guess it's more of who's willing to enjoy a bit more comfortability with other stats. The only noticeable difference is, of course, Birdie is the only one that goes with the box light strat. Gotta look fancy, of course, but it is actually faster if you pull it off perfectly. But in this case, he's fourth, but still in the mix. Everybody's putting a good performance, like Vortex. We expected it from Molotov Gaming. Of course, Foot Esports is matching them as well, but it has come down to subtle differences. And in this case, it is that Chemko is the one that needs to deny points here. His exit has been rather good, and we see it this time again the same. That speed is the difference, and Huso, there's nothing he can do. There's no way he can catch up this end, even if I don't know, something happens in the end, but once that exit is done, that is pretty much sealed deal. A draw, 5-5 as we go into round 5.
Decent times all around, actually. 0.3, 0.5, 0.6. Solid rounds so far. Molotov is still in this. They definitely can up the pace. The real, let's just say, like the... let's just say the best opportunity for Molotov is actually Birdie. Because he's the player who has been kind of pulling Foot down in this match. The one usually the last in rounds and everything like that. But this time Huso is a bit stuck on the ramp. He's more than 6 seconds behind already. So it's all up on Ignite, actually, at least to maintain the draw. But very good momentum there from both Foot players. But doesn't, let's just say, does not make the situation much that easier for Ignite, as Birdie does crash out. So one is down. Chemko to go. Ignite is reducing the gap down to 0.2. All comes down to the drift. A bit of a safer approach from Ignite. The speed is very equal. However, Chemko has a tiny bit more. There's the gap, and it's gonna be a victory for Foot. So Victory have their micro lead by 1 point. So far, very unfortunate situation there from Huso, as Birdie had that small incident during the middle part of the map. So it could have at least maintained on the draw level, but it's gonna be a bit to the one side to Foot, especially as now Chemko is starting to really up the consistency with the 0.3s.
Yeah, he's getting into this match as well, and you really cannot afford mistakes, especially on that quarter pipe. Yes, it's maybe not the easiest jump to make, but it shouldn't be a mistake that you cannot allow at this point anymore. It is the grand final. You're going up against Foot Esports. You cannot really give them you cannot give them an arm or a leg. They just pull it off and take an ace if they can take the opportunity there. So they really are getting into this, and we see the comfortability, the confidence is there. And now with Huso and Ignite training behind as well, it's becoming a show for Foot Esports now. They are looking to take this first opportunity at a track point with an ace, and now Birdie has also gotten through this section quite cleanly, so it's up to... Oh, but Chemko is the one that touches on the inside, so it allows for Molotov Gaming to come into play. So Birdie needs to get this clean, no mistakes allowed, but he has a bit of a safer approach. Huso is getting a bit closer, but it's not gonna be enough speed, I believe. Birdie will have a good end. Enough? It is enough. Just barely, but holds on to the time as well. Like a very good time still. everything considered, and that's what the strength of Foot Esports is most of the times. If one of them has a bad round, the other one is able to match it and hold on to first place quite comfortably. Bit close, but still good enough.
Even with the Chemko's mistake, it was still a 104.
Yep.
So I think that shows kind of actually that these guys now can do at least decent pace here and there. But yeah, Foot is now one victory away to deny the map pick from Molotov. Molotov at least... Oh, that was very... okay, that wasn't the best transition there from Huso. He had a very good start. I think he got a bit... shook a bit because he got a very nice transition there, but had too much speed. Probably got a bit... let's just say confused that he got it, and I think that might be it.
Yeah,
Mistake from Huso, mistake from Ignite. This might be a 2-0.
Yeah, there's no reason for them to really... if again, I would assume that at least Birdie or one of them is at least somewhat keeping an eye on splits as well, and with that, they just put it... Oh, what is this? Chemko, a bit of slight PM at the end. Slows down right before the finish line, but that's more than enough. I mean, he could have technically even just stood still on the line, put cars on and waited a bit, but you know... 11-7, there it is, and it's a bit of salt in the wounds for Molotov Gaming. They looked actually quite promising on this map. The possibility was there, but towards the end it sort of faded away, and they take Foot Esports, take another track point, and we go on to Sinuous as well, which has been sort of like Chemko's playing ground, to be honest. He has probably, I do believe he has one of the fastest times on this track as well. I do believe he's probably, if I'm not correct, top 5 times in online records, I believe, if my memory serves me right. So.
I am looking into it.
Yeah, I remember he had a really good time on Sinuous. I'm quite sure about that. Was it top 5? I don't remember quite exactly, but I remember it being quite insane and quite fast.
So on Sinuous, Chemko is number 3, Birdie is number 8. So
Yep.
both Foot players are top 10. In the meanwhile, Foot... Okay, you have to scroll a bit on this.
Molotov
okay,
Gaming.
Foot, Molotov is 66 and 69.
Nice.
While Foot is 3 and 8. So definitely the favorite pick for Foot in this on this map. But who knows? Pace is one thing, consistency is other. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, but it is... well, Chemko does have a moment on the ice, goes a bit too ambitious there. So it is Birdie to be up front, but it is such a short identity. It's really hard to make a mistake here, I feel like. It's, especially for them caliber of players, and it is a clean finish. Chemko has a bit of an unorthodox way of finishing, but gets there anyway. It is 1-1, it is a draw to start us off, but I feel like this is... Molotov Gaming really need a miracle here, because I know for a fact that, yeah, when we saw Foot Esports play this map, they looked vicious on this one. It was really not fun to play against them. Birdie has a bit of a interesting way to take that transition, but I mean, he's not too
To
far
give an
behind.
idea, in the previous round, Birdie's time was faster than both Molotov players' personal best.
Yeah, that puts a lot of context into what an arduous task this is going to be. But Molotov Gaming, so far at least, are looking up to the task. And Chemko is having not the most fun time at the moment. Both players really struggling to get Sinuous going at the moment. And Molotov Gaming are looking to take one of them, probably the most least likeliest maps here from Foot Esports. They are in ace position, and they should most likely take this end as well. Chemko can try to push it, but that's not gonna be enough. It's too far. It's just too far to take a dent. And Molotov Gaming, 4-1, the biggest lead they've had during this entire match on a Sinuous of all maps as well.
Yeah, this is in theory one of the more one-sided picks in a sense, because there's the biggest peak pace gap between both teams' best and worst player. Like the worst player on Foot is Birdie, but he is ranked number 8 on this map, and at the same time the best player on Molotov's end is Huso, but the time gap between their places is around like 0.4, so that one mistake and kind of throw the whole concept of peak paces out of the window a bit. If, as mentioned, like peak paces is one thing or personal best is one thing, but consistency is another. So far, a very close bunch so far. Uso trying to at least result a draw or deny the victory for Birdie. Doesn't like it. Birdie has way better exit speed, and it's gonna be a victory for Foot, but Molotov are still in the lead.
Yeah, but if Foot Esports can get this going, victories aside, they can crawl it back really easily. I mean, they get 3 victories in a row. They are on 9, and Molotov would be on 8. So it's that ace is very nice and beneficial for now. But Molotov Gaming have to really put the nail in the coffin and make advantage of every possibility they can. So they cannot really afford their own mistakes. But I feel like the longer this track goes, I feel like the more advantageous it's going to be for Foot Esports, because yes, they had the first 2 rounds really shaky, but now they are really showing why they have those personal bests as well and are looking a lot more comfortable, and I feel like they really want to get just an ace back here and put this sinuous bit more on their side as it's supposed to be. But Huso is really pushing them and is always in the mix, but now he has to really send it in the end, because unless there is a bit of an incident here, Birdie and Chemko are the ones to take this. Huso is a good line, but that is not gonna be enough. 54-9 as well. They are now getting into the times, and with 6-5 on the board, it's gonna be a bit of a moment. They really have to hope for some Foot Esports mistakes here, I feel like now, because they've really gotten into this one now.
Actually, one thing interesting to mention that both Molotov players do have a 54 on this, but it's like a really, really high 54. And despite Chemko doing a 54.95, it's still faster than their personal best. Because they have a 97 and a 98 as a personal best.
Yeah, but they have to do it in rounds now, and Chemko has a lot more in his tank, and same for Birdie, so they literally have to try PB pace just to keep up, and that's going to be a very tough task to do consistently. Chemko, I feel like I said, he has a lot more in his tank, so he can maybe, you know, let it go a bit to just compensate a bit, and we can see he's just miles away and looking to take another draw here, and that is a 54-8, so even faster than before, and there's nothing Molotov Gaming can really do. Like I said, they need to up their pace and just drive PBs every round just to contest Chemko at this point.
Yeah, even alright times from Molotov, like it would be enough against a decent amount of teams, but sadly not here and right now. Thankfully there was a mistake from Birdie, which at least gave away at least as a draw. But definitely they need something a bit more than that. Also not having the best of starts, so this can set up at least a better opportunity for Molotov.
Is so close still, and look how much they gain, and Ignite goes inside and clips, and it's all up on Huso to take this. I mean, once Foot Esports get a track point, Birdie gets wedged, does slide out on the ice there, and it gives away the position to Huso. So if anything goes according to plan, it won't be the final round on Sinuous. But Chemko, that goes so wide and allows Huso to come into play. Is Ignite even close enough? No, he isn't. Oh, this could have been a round to take for Molotov. It's another draw. But that clip there in the middle part of the track costs Molotov Gaming. It gives a draw, but you know, coulda, woulda, shoulda. You know, it's one of those rounds that could have been so much different.
That was... I mean, I'm starting to get a bit of Split Academy vibes when the rounds where the opposing or the higher end team messes up, it's like tossed away. And hopefully they have a room a bit. If Foot does get a victory, they take the map. If Molotov gets an ace, they actually do take the map. A draw still prolongs the match, but not the best start from Huso. Has to readjust his drift, loses all the momentum with that on top of it. Ignite is only the one still in the mix. Birdie risking a line, still maintains the grip and does not slide out. Birdie has a way better transition there. Ignite has to readjust the line. Still puts in the front end position. I believe unless there's some flips going on, it's gonna be it. And Foot is gonna take their third map And we're gonna potentially go on the final map of MEA Regionals this year.
Yup, Molotov Gaming reverse sweep is only thing that can make them come back into this match. So it's no real easy feat to do, and they go on airwalk as well. Which, again, a map that looked promising for Molotov Gaming, but again, we saw previously as well, Huso went into the mindset that he pushed a lot and he was constantly up front. But then the identities where he sometimes overcooked as well, and that's something that they really have to avoid in order to take something out of this match. It's been a close affair still, like it's been a quick tussle between all of these teams. It is 3-0. Of course, the maps themselves have been a lot closer than the scoreline might say, but Foot Esports always have 1 foot ahead of them. And let's see if Airwalk is going to be any different. Currently looking good for everybody at the start. No major clips or any major mistakes. Everybody's in the mix. A few small gaps already coming in. A 10th there, a 10th here. But it is Chemko and Ignite up front with Birdie and Huso following along, and it's a nice hot tussle between everybody. Like I said, everybody's literally having the same gap between each other, so it seems that we're gonna go into the identity to decide the outcome of the first round on Airwalk. Here we go, only moments away to see who's willing to push it a bit more, who's willing to send it in the end. Everybody gets the first jump, everybody goes a bit lower. Birdie does get a good jump, but I feel like he had to respawn. I think he missed right at the end. Oh, that's a flip and a half there. That's one way to get the bumper, but it is a draw to start off, and that's a missed again. And that's missed again. So Birdie, maybe not off to a good start, but usually he needs a bit of warm-up to get into the rounds.
So one crazy stat. So if Foot does win this map, then there's not going to be a single 4-2 or 4-3 scoreline ever done during entire stage 2 in MEA.
It's something that we've spoken about as well. Like, it is like there is still like a lot of these teams. Of course, there's like every team is sort of at their own skill level. Probably the most closest to a skill level is probably what we had previously, like Press W and Let Us Cook, but now it's been more like Molotov Gaming, Split Academy. So everybody has their own level, you know. Everybody has their own little bubble of skill they sit at. They can give it trouble at sometimes, but it just shows like the difference is there. And for Foot Esports, I mean, yeah, it's they're looking to do another case of Molotov Gaming 4-0 perhaps again. But it seems for now, as Huso hits the corner, it allows for a victory for Foot Esports, and they go in the lead with 3-2. And I did mention this before, Huso can get this identity really well, but once it goes wrong really badly, as it did that round.
I mean, this is Molotov's pick, but this is a bit unfortunate gap so far, but the times done from Foot's side have been very, very competitive. But Molotov definitely need to get some stuff going to not deny, basically, to not deny their own pick, basically, and not to end off the regionals of the open circuit part just like this. So far, actually, it's looking quite promising for Molotov. Birdie is a bit out of the round, 0.6 disadvantage, 0.1 disadvantage from Chemko. Oh, Chemko had a small release as well. But it all comes down to identity. We have seen major gaps starting to form on the identity. Will this be the recovery period for Molotov? Oh, very risky lines. Chemko does overjump. Both Molotov players get the ace with both setting 55s. And it's gonna be an ace on Molotov's end.
That is at least a good sign as well, but we've seen this before, so they really have to take this track point. Like, it's now or never, like we said. Foot Esports are 1 track point away from taking this entire match 4-0. So there isn't really much, like, you know, you take 1 track point, okay, we have at least 1 to spare. Nope, they have to do it or absolutely be done with this match. And I'm sure Foot Esports are more than looking to just close this one out and not let Molotov Gaming take a track point to end this regional off. But Molotov Gaming definitely looking really good, looking very promising, and they are taking now a more advantage of the moments that do matter, but they have to keep it consistent and fast as well. So far it's a bit of a 1v1 up front and in the back. Chemko and Huso up front with Birdie and Ignite at the back, so we have a pretty good bird's eye view of everybody as they go into the identity. Any missers? Anybody having a bit of trouble? Everybody goes for it, but Birdie snipes everybody, but Chemko is the one that has to respawn. That could have been an ace, actually, everything considered, but again, one little thing that goes wrong, but that was a close end, but Birdie just absolutely went for it, and it pays off.
I mean, still, it's a draw for Molotov, so it's not per se. They still have the 2 points advantage. But a very sick play there by Birdie, could have gone a bit more worse there. But we'll have to see. Like, Molotov definitely still have some momentum on their side. Definitely need to use this part. Chemko having a bit of a sketchy line. And Molotov not having the best of starts, as Huso is out of this one. It does open up Foot a great opportunity for an ace to basically overtake the lead. So it's a bit up on Ignite to counter it. We have seen very crazy situations happening on the identity. Will they say? Will there is? Oh, what's that line from Birdie? He barely survives that. Very weird counter sideways diagonal line. And it comes down to this. Who gets the higher jump? Who saves it? Ignite risks it. Oh, gets the counterbalance, gets too much airtime, does not get it, and it's gonna be an ace from Foot. 55-7, 55-8. Not too bad times. But yeah, it's gonna bit, I feel like, really ruined the momentum now.
Yeah, it's
Molotov.
It's one of those situations where you really don't want to get aced, and it's a reminiscence of one of the maps. Molotov Gaming again had a lead, Foot Esports take the ace, and all of that hard work is undone with one round. So they're back on the back foot again, and Molotov Gaming really need to make use of this opportunity. It is literally their final opportunity. Otherwise, as said before, Foot Esports, they're on track point and match point, unlike Molotov Gaming, and Huso does fall a bit behind again, so Ignite cannot afford to let an ace come through here. Birdie and Chemko both have a good start. Ignite in there, literally on their spoilers, and nothing really separate. Literally a 10th between all of these players. Good lines from Ignite, and also overtakes both of these. Birdie going wide has to release, and if Huso is there, well, close enough, but not quite to overtake him. So it comes down to this end if Ignite needs to get this into the finish, otherwise it could be an ace. He misses the bumper, and it is the ace. The mistake he could not afford to make. He misses the bumper in the end, and that is match sealed and done. 4-0 Foot Esports, clean sweep of the entire MEA Regional from stage 1 and 2, and that is done as such. Well, Molotov Gaming gave it a good effort, but not good enough in the end.
That's a very fortunate way to end up having the final round as well. Having crash out on your own map pick. But it is what it is. And with that, has been a very dominant stage from all teams, basically. Always, like, as you mentioned, like every single tier is every single team is in its like own tier a bit. But yeah, Foot does come out on top, having a 6 out of 6 wins in regionals, and I think definitely they will be the team to look out for ASC and the World Championship wildcard coming out of the regions. And with that, Molotov and Foot are 100% locked in for the World Championship wildcard, with still the 3 more teams, Split Academy, Chamrunishinda, and Southern Speedsters, are still basically up in the air, where matchmaking will kind of determine their fate for their participation in the wildcard. But yeah, those were the MEA regionals. If you really want to take part, there's gonna be, I know that MEA scene has recently combined the whole community and everything like that. So if you wanna like play in some MEA third-party tournaments outside of the regionals, definitely check those out as well. But yeah, congratulations to Foot having a perfect sweep on all of the regionals in the World Tour. And I will say this, that thank you everyone who did take part in the MEA regionals, also everyone who watched it as well, supported some of the players and teams, because this was the first time they were given such an official stage to kind of play in. And it was a bit, let's just say, a bit one-sided for most of the times, but it still was a great start for these players to have some, let's just say, the first stepping stone on Trackmania's competitive scene.
Yeah, that is the biggest thing about this Trackmania World Tour. The opportunities that have been given to a lot of these players. Like thinking about this like a year ago, that one of these regions would be playing in the World Championship wildcard would be absolutely insane. Probably would be like, how are you gonna even get to that position? But now with these opportunities, they are there. And we can see them on the stage, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the matchmaking will conclude the rest of the two teams to go into the wild card. Hopefully they haven't forgotten about it, that they will actually now put in the effort to put in a bit of time into matchmaking, just make sure that they have as many points as possible to secure as many points. But with that, that does conclude MEA, at least for now, and we'll have to now wait and see how the other regions do and who will actually make it to the wild card. I mean, there's still a lot of Trackmania to come, and it's might be over for the regionals, but not over for Trackmania World Tour. That is plenty to come. Any final words to say? Maybe shout out some MEA, or I know that they have a Discord as well. I don't know. Probably that has been put into the chat many times before. I don't know. Or if you have any final remarks for MEA or anything else.
So if you are from Turkey, Middle East, North Africa, definitely check out the MEA Discord. Recently have built a community there, starting to do some new events here and there. So definitely, I highly recommend checking that out, because they will be doing some tournaments here and there from third party outside of the World Tour. So that's definitely something to look forward to. But and to check out if you are from there, I will post it in the chat for you to check it out. But yeah, anyway, that's gonna be it for us. So for MEA Regionals, there's gonna be TMCL afterwards as well today, a bit later down the day, approximately 1 hour and 30-ish minutes. But yeah, anyway, thank you for the broadcast. Shout outs to Tourism, Mark Fish as well, who were taking part in the broadcast as well, in stage 2 as well. Yeah, that's gonna be a wrap.
Yep, that is it for us. Hopefully you enjoyed it. There's plenty of Trackmania today as well. Challenger League is of course concluding its final matches as well, but we'll have to see how that goes. But for now, that will be it from us. Have a good rest of the weekend. Enjoy it the best you can, and we will meet you next time. Goodbye.